Why did I ever agree to do this? Hello, Internet. I'm Angela, and this is One Shot Wednesday on Nerdsmith. Uh, Happy Pride, everyone. It is June 26th, which means we are still in Pride Month, and we are doing our Wednesday one shots. This is the final Wednesday one shot of our month of celebration, and we have some really cool stuff for you guys today, including what I think will be a very fun little one shot, little sojourn called The Spectaculars, the family that slays together, stays together. I am Angela. I'm a role player and apparently a DM here on Nerdsmith. And I have assembled a wonderful group of new friends to play in the space with me today. Um, I will introduce you guys all in a moment. Sit tight. But we have a couple of things to get through first. First things first, as I said, this is our Pride Month one shots. We here at Nerdsmith are staunch allies or members of the LGBTQ community, and we wanted to make sure that we did something a little special this year while also indulging in our need for bling. So we have designed a rainbow enamel dragon pride pin. It is shaped like a dragon egg. It is very beautiful. You can see it on screen below me right now. And you can get one at nerdsmith.org/pride. You can pre-order them right now. All the proceeds, all the profits from pre-orders this June. So you have maybe like 4 days to continue pre-ordering. And all those profits will be going directly to the Trevor Project and their life-saving services for LGBTQ youth in crisis. We have been supporters of the Trevor Project for a while now. We've raised over $3,500 for them over the last year, and we love the idea that we can give a really cool little token away for people who want to continue supporting their services. They will be on sale after June, after the pre-orders, and once the pre-orders are done, $1 from every pin sale will be going to the Trevor Project still. So we want to make sure that the pin is continuing to do good. Also, kind of sit tight. There might be a Kickstarter coming out with a bunch of flags, eggs. So we're going to be working on that over the next month or so, trying to get that situated. So that's our big Pride event thing. As I said, this is the last of our one shots for the month, but keep an eye out for any other Wednesday one shots or community one shots that we want to do here on nerdsmith.org. And what else do we have? We have a couple sponsors that make these sort of things possible. We have Die Hard Dice is a really kick-ass group of people that make super pretty polymer and metal dice. They design them in-house. They're super amazing. I've been saying super a lot, probably because I based this one shot slightly on The Incredibles. And so you should go check out dieharddice.com. Look at some of their absolutely gorgeous dice. I've got a whole set right here. They're super heavy. They will make you forget what polymer dice feel like, and you'll chuck one across the room accidentally because all of a sudden it's light. But please check them out at dieharddice.com. We are also sponsored by World Anvil, which is, in my opinion, the most robust campaign management software on the internet today. We run a bunch of our games through World Anvil. You can find basically a repository of information about the world building that we use in all of our RPGs. They also have a social media for your characters called Heroes that just launched in the last month or so. Super fun to be able to post stuff as your characters and interact with your World Anvil worlds. So you should check them out at worldanvil.com. If you want to try it for free, it's completely free to try. They including Heroes. And if you decide you really like what they have and you want to step up your game and look at some of their customization options, you can sign up to become a guild member for very low monthly memberships. I believe it starts at about the cost of a cup of coffee a month. So if you want to do something real pretty and fancy with your World Anvil, you should definitely check it out. World Anvil has an amazing community as well that is just a joy to be a part of. So that is worldanvil.com is our other sponsor. But speaking of Die Hard Dice, we will be doing a giveaway today. I totally forgot to put that in any of my tweets. So if you want to tell people, please do, that we're going to be doing a dice giveaway tonight, probably at the end of the game, so stick around. But if you would like to be submitted into the Die Hard Dice giveaway, Logan, you will have to tell me in chat whether or not it's an exclamation point or a hashtag to get put in. I'm not sure which, so I won't give you the code until I actually know what you're supposed to type. But once I do, I will let you guys know. I got through that real quick. That's a lot of intro. Okay, okay. So hashtag family. That's going to be the code to get you eligible for a Die Hard Dice giveaway. So please hashtag family in the chat, and you will be entered. Okay, so I'm done with my spiel. Let's talk players. Let's introduce ourselves. Let's go around the table, so to speak, and introduce ourselves. So I'll just call one of you out, and you can introduce yourself to the audience, where we can find you, what you're from, what is your favorite color, and such important details. Elise, why don't you start? You're at the top of my screen.
Hey everyone, so I'm Elise. You'll see me on Twitter and Facebook at D&D Elise. I am a DM's Guild writer, so I've contributed to Encaged, Undermount and Lost Chambers, and Alistair's Ward. I'm also the creator of the Red Knight Inn, which is a huge proponent of diversity in gaming. We are also celebrating Pride and Women in Gaming Month. So my favorite color is teal, blue, and green. Today I'm playing Debbie. So for those of you who've seen the Wild Thornberries, I'm playing this
don't tell Nickelodeon
kind of teenager. So yeah, and this is totally RP, and I'm gonna have fun with it. So yeah, thanks so much for having me on. So
absolute pleasure. Rachel, why don't you go next? Rachel, introduce yourself to the lovely audience.
Oh my goodness, okay. I'm so excited. Anyway, hi, my name is Rachel. I am a fan artist. I go by Nerdy Teacups on Twitter. I am an elementary school teacher. I dungeon master a game called #AcesMild. It's going awesome. We're doing Waterdeep. And my favorite color is green. And I'm going to be playing Aria, the tiefling bard, who, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I'm trying to contain it. Thank you, guys. All right.
Kelric, would you please go next?
Hello, I'm Kelric, and I'm from the Experience Points Network. We just started our season 2, so I'm playing a Starfinder ace pilot character who is apparently a cat species, which is kind of fun. And classes, which is pretty cool. And I also DM, it's my first time DMing a game, and I'm doing a system I'm not super familiar with, so it's awesome. It's called Cumanera, and the cast I'm with is super fantastic and lovely, so that's been great. And you can find me on Twitter at Cormelon. I also help run the at EQ Points Twitter account. And my favorite colors are pink and blue. So.
Very good selections. Everyone has made excellent selections.
My dice today. Pink and blue.
Julia, will you please round us out with an introduction for the fine people at home?
Sure thing. Hi, my name is Julia. You can find me on Twitter at Black Market Bingo without the K in black, because there's not enough characters on Twitter. I am not a part of any projects per se. Some people might know me. I used to be a moderator for Project Alpha before it closed. I occasionally moderate for Geek and Sundry right now. I am kind of active in the critter community, but if you don't know me, that's okay. I am playing Selena, who is an Air Genasi druid and one of the mothers of the family, and I'm really excited to play with everybody. Big mom energy. I'm super excited to play.
Fabulous. All right. I'm trying to say as many words as possible to avoid beginning our story, because this is my first time streaming a game, y'all. I'm very excited, but it's a lot.
You can do it!
Okay, I can do it.
You're doing it.
You're doing it! I'm just making a copy really quick to make sure I have everybody's info so that I don't forget anything I'm supposed to remember. All right, so we are going to start our story. welcome everybody to the Spectaculars, and I hope you enjoy. We're gonna have some fun today. All right. So, family is an important thing. Having the people around you that you trust, whether you're born into it or it's the family you choose, it's very important to have that support system or those loved ones around you. Whether it's, all families have their squabbles. Mom, he broke my toy, or honey, our son sold his soul to a demon. I mean, it's all those sort of those regular things that happen over the course of the life of a family in this world. You all are such an average family. Colloquially known across the land as the Spectaculars. You are a family of adventurers, of heroes of various ages and experiences, oddly all 5th level, weirdly how that works out. But you are currently in your home, which is mobile. It's a large 2-story caravan wagon. It's beautifully painted. You can sort of tell it's been lived in and loved. Lots of wear and tear because it's been around. There are the occasional small handprint of paint smeared where it meant to be a very fine line of ornate decoration. And on one side of the wagon, emblazoned in bold script, you see the name The Spectaculars. Now, whether or not that's your actual family moniker is open to some debate around the, let's call it the region. We're a little setting agnostic right now. But regardless, that is the symbol that people see when you all roll into town looking for work and adventure and fun times. So currently, you're double tall. Your caravan wagon is making its way through a canyon of sorts. It's a pretty wide space. On one side of the canyon seems to be a cliff, sort of a deserty cliff. And on the other side is a very thick, also cliff, but very overgrown with vegetation and sort of jungle. It almost feels like you're in the middle of where a biome suddenly breaks in 2 directions. But you're in the middle of this canyon. Who of the family is driving? Somebody volunteered to be the driver. So Arya.
It's very calming. It's very musical. So
the clomping of the hooves. Yes, I could see that. As you are, at what kind of a pace are you leading this relatively odd-shaped caravan wagon?
Considering the fact that we were going through a canyon, I think I was probably taking it a little bit slow. We're not in a super big hurry.
That's good. Yeah. All right. So as you're leading the mount, quite large animal dragging your caravan, it is Halim. He is a pseudo griffin, very large creature. Looks like, for lack of a better description, looks like a moose griffin. Has a very sharp beak where its big muzzle would be. It's got a swishing tail, has sort of a lion back, and these odd little claws on the front. So it's got a pretty good grip on what's going on, and it has very beady, very angry eyes. But
I love him.
Halim has been pretty obedient as far as mounts have gone. You've had him for a very long time, and he's strong enough to carry all 5 of you. 5, yeah, for now, on the wagon. And so he's hauling forward. You hear this sort of like mix between an eagle cry and like a burp come out of him when he makes noises. All right, so you guys are traveling forward at a steady but let's call it a responsible speed. We are going to introduce everyone, though, through a character that none of you are aware of yet. As players, the characters are very well aware of the youngest member of your family. Sitting in the back, in the sort of on the lower space of the wagon, there's a living quarters area. You've got a sort of small dining space, a little kitchen, a commode, maybe some bunks in the back. But in the kitchen space, there is a very large pot. And this pot is much taller than it probably needs to be. But with the wagon careening sometimes how it does, you want to make sure you don't spill food everywhere. So at this pot is a very short, very svelte little lizard lad. His name is Mitchum. He is the youngest of your family. He's been with you for about a year. He kind of looks like an anole lizard. He's got a very long head, all bright green scales, no eyelids, just kind of stares blankly, but he's very enthusiastic, so it's not creepy when he just looks at you without blinking. He's currently mixing up a pot of something, and he has taken it upon himself to sort of be the family cook. So we see as Mitchum sort of is just stirring this giant spoon, and he pulls the spoon out, big lizard tongue kind of flicks out, tries the sort of reddish brown liquid that's in the pot, and you sort of hear him. Anyone nearby can sort of hear him just going. He doesn't have any lips. He's trying really hard to whistle, but he can't. But Arya, you would recognize that it's probably something that you've played before. He's just trying to whistle along with it because it's stuck in his head. And so Mitchum tastes it. He thinks really hard about it, and he can't seem to make a decision about it. And so Mitchum looks up from the pot, yells to the front of the wagon, "Amma! Amma, I need tasting notes!" And he shuffles ahead to bring you a ladle full of this spoon, of this stew he seems to be making.
I don't know what to do with it. I just, you always tell me that I don't have much of a taste bud. I just need you to try this.
And he shoves the ladle at you. He's like holding on, trying to have you taste it.
Thank you, darling. All right, you know what? This looks amazing already. I give it a sniff.
It smells like tomato and beef. Not much else. It feels like that might be all he put in it already so far.
Right. I give it a taste.
It tastes like tomato and beef. Like that's all he put in it. He does not have much of a palate, and this is not the first time this has happened. He usually asks everybody what he needs to add after he's done the base cooking.
You know, if you ask your Amma, if you ask Lena, I'm sure that she has some herbs for you to use. Maybe add a little bit of rosemary, some little bit of pepper. It's doing good.
All right. Yeah, I'll try that. All right, thank you, Emma.
And he scuttles back to the pot, and he kind of climbs up on a shelf, and he grabs something. Okay, he puts something that kind of looks like pepper, throws it in, sniffs a couple of other things, and he throws that in, stirs it up, tongue flicks out again, tries to take another sample. Hold on a sec. Okay, I'm just trying to fix.
All right. Mom!
And you hear Selena, you hear your moniker being shouted across the wagon. Are you on the first floor, or the second floor has a few more bedroom and like a little library space, little cubby? Where do you think Selena would be, and what would she be doing?
She honestly, if we're in the middle of nowhere, she would probably be reading. Just because what better to entertain yourself than with some entertainment? And yeah, she probably just is like reading silently, and then hears her name being called and is like, closes the book and will follow. I'm sure she knows where it's coming from.
The camera, we'll just call it the camera, follows Mitchum as he has the spoon in his hand, tries to kind of keep it steady, and crawls up a wall and heads upstairs to the little library nook, looking for you.
Mom, I need tasting notes. Already gave me some, but I need some more.
And he
What are
offers
you making, darling?
later.
Food.
Okay. Did you bring some with you, or do you want me to follow you to the kitchen?
He holds the ladle out for you.
Okay, all right. Does it look hot? Like, is it like steaming?
He's been scuttling up the. It's like there's been a bit of air blown on it. I mean, there's still a little steam.
All right.
It's warm.
I just making sure. Okay. She's being like, any hesitation is just her not wanting to burn herself. She looks very interested in helping. She just kind of takes a tentative. I'd say your skills are improving quite a bit.
His tail is missing the tip. It's like it's growing back after he lost a chunk of it, and it sort of thuds against the floor.
Really?
Absolutely. I know, I'm excited to eat now. And she like very carefully hands it back.
Oh, all right.
Do you need any more help in the kitchen, or?
Well, what else do I need? What does it need? Hit me. Come on.
Let's see. Maybe a little bit of garlic.
Oh, all right. I can look at that. I'm supposed to smash it, right? I'm supposed to get the little stuff out. And then
gotta get the stuff out. Make sure you peel it out.
All right.
Don't want any of that skin in there.
Let's crunch. Oh, fine.
No.
He will. Okay. And he will scuttle back down, looks for the garlic, tries to find it, smushes it in his hands. Has to remember the skin goes out of the pot, the regular garlic goes in the pot. Stirs it up, tries it again. He looks around. Where's Debbie right now?
Oh no.
Like hiding in her room, like reading like Teen Wizard medieval magazine or something, just teen stuff. Like, oh, I gotta stay away from everyone.
So you're in a bunk on the bottom floor, right next to where he's been working and screaming.
Oh, so she's totally annoyed right now. She's like turning pages, like.
You see a tiny little green head climb up the bunk and look over the edge.
Debbie.
And then a little ladle being leaned over and slowly put in your face.
I'm reading about draft punk right now. It's not a good time. Oh my god.
But I need the tasting notes. You're always so particular. You're supposed to tell me what you need.
And she takes it back to him.
So it's tomato, beef, garlic, pepper, and some indecipherable spices that he just decided to pick out of a sense of improvisation.
Okay. Does it taste good? Is he good cook?
It's not bad. It's probably missing. Let's see. What do you need? Heat, salt, acid. It's missing some acid. We'll say it needs a little bit of a bite to it.
And I'm sure like the pantry's nearby, and I like grab a lime. I'm like, here you go.
All right. Getting all experimental. I like it. Okay.
And he will crawl down, and then he crawls back up. Thank you. And he crawls back down.
She just read the magazine.
So whole lime gets squeezed into it. He just breaks it open and just squeezes as hard as he can. His little lizard claws. And then, as is tradition, when all of those ingredients have been put together, the palate he cares about most, he retrieves a ladle of it and starts looking for Grandpa. Where is Lapis at this time?
Lapis is just pretty cranky in general, and he is on the second floor, curled up on the floor next to his bed in his badger form.
So it takes a little while. I'm so sorry I didn't ask you all to describe your characters. We'll do that next. Right now, Lapis is a badger. That's pretty easy to describe. So it takes a little while for the child to find you. But eventually, you sort of see him peeking around the bed. Oh, there you are, Grandpa. Hi.
And just chitter or whatever
Try the
sound noise.
soup.
And he sort of slowly puts the ladle in front of your nose.
So, with just a sigh, I change back into my speaking form. And what you see is a wood elf with copper skin and green tracing, very black hair and emerald eyes. And he's probably about 100, so pretty young looking for an elf. And
pretty young for a grandpa, I'd say too.
Yeah, I was going to say, and pretty young to be a grandpa. And sits heavily on the bed and reaches out and takes the ladle, has a little sip of it, and hands it back and nods.
What you think?
You are definitely improving, lad. Definitely.
Yes.
This will be good. Do we have bread to go with this? That's okay.
He just turns around and walks back down into the kitchen. All right. So let's say Mitchum is prepping dinner and kind of glances back. He'll glance back at you. He's taking a survey of what kind of carbohydrate do you want with the dinner, because apparently you need bread with this, and I wasn't prepared. And so please go around and describe your characters a little bit. Let's say Arya driving the wagon at the front. What do you look like?
All right, so Arya is a sort of like wine to raspberry pinkish tiefling. She has very short, very dark purple hair, sort of in a faux hawk, like on one side and then buzzed on the other. She wears a silver pendant of Malil, the god of troubadours and singers. And she usually is seen carrying some kind of pouch on her, like either pouches or her rapier, or little belts for her panpipes. Or she's got a little holster she slings across her back for her fiddle. And that is what Arya looks like.
Very good, thank you. Let's see who was next. Selena, what do you look like?
So Selena has a light, I don't know the exact shade of blue, but like a light blue skin tone. She has white with like the faintest tint of blue hair that's very, very long, and just kind of, rather than looking like very long hair, it just past her shoulders just kind of flows like air. And she's wearing this long silken Maya blue dress that just flows like all the way to the floor. And it goes, rather than having sleeves, it goes like around the back of her neck like a loop. And very basic clothing.
Lovely. Now I would like to note that neither of you are wood elves. Who's
No, we're not.
Who's grandpa related to?
Well, as a wood elf,
maybe it skips a
no,
generation.
nobody.
What else?
This might be part of why Lapis is so cranky, because Lena is his daughter. And at one point in time, he was a rock genasi. He is not that anymore and does not like it.
Genassies are pretty great.
And
yes, I
not
would tend
that
to agree.
Not that we have to necessarily ask if we're aware of wild thornberries, but what does Debbie look like?
So she's like half elf and kind of has features of both her moms though. But she has like long curly hair and like lipstick and makeup. She wears like pants and boots and like maybe like a trendy shirt and like belt, like her favorite Bard band on it.
Not her mom's band, I'm sure.
Oh,
that would be
why?
so embarrassing.
Yeah, she doesn't listen to mom
Kidding.
music though.
Support your mother.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
she's just kind of like just a sassy, kind of bratty, normal teenager. So
Mhm.
no, when people ask her to do stuff, she's just like, "Oh, I don't feel like it," you know. And, yeah.
All right, so you guys continue. It's probably he's prepping for what he just calls mealtime. The idea that you just have a lot of food and it's just around when you want it. It's around. You don't gotta have like when you're on the road, you're not necessarily stopping and having sit down dinners because you got to get from point A to point B. You know, you guys are kind of working paycheck to paycheck. You know, the wagon was family heirloom sort of thing. You've had it for a while, and it's not. It might lead someone to believe that you have more money than you do liquid cash.
I got a very good deal on that, I'll have you know.
Was it a fixed rate mortgage?
Oh, this is gonna be fun. Okay. So, you guys are driving through the heat. It is hot and dry here. You're feeling like the climate in this region is more influenced by the desert side of the biome than it is by the thick jungle, but you're definitely getting the heat from both. And let's see. As the day wears on, you are finding that biome break doesn't really change. You go a little bit through maybe the canyon kind of lessens in steepness a little bit sometimes, and you'll see a little bit out on the wilderness in the distance. You'll see that there's just craggy, almost like Monument Valley style crags sticking up out of the desert side, and it's just thick and like you cannot penetrate the jungle with just looking at it. You can't really see anything past it. When you hit another big, let's call it another big row of this canyon, you're following the main road. It's been told to you that it's called the, let's see, I had a name for it. I think it's called the Long Road, you know. Oh, I had to forget that. It's called the Long Road, and it's basically a traveler's road. It's your way from getting from town to town. So as you continue down the long road, you don't remember it being described as being in this sort of craggy. Occasionally you're hitting these weird patches where it's definitely not paved. It almost feels like it hasn't been tread in a while. Or never been tread. There's some raw spots. You got to be careful. But at a certain point, you're driving through and it's sun's high. It's high afternoon and there's dust kicking up from the desert. Arya, it's really hard to see. The visibility's kind of crap as you're driving through. I would like you to make a perception check for me.
So I get to make the first roll?
Yes, you do get to make the first roll. You volunteered to drive
No
the
pressure,
wagon.
babe.
I'll do my best. Okay, that is a perception. That is a 17.
17. Okay, so as you are driving through the dust, you're trying to kind of, all right, so I know the canyon walls are there. You know you've got sort of a direction, but it's hard to see the details on the road, and that can be very hazardous, and you know that. So you kind of keep things at a little slow clip, and you see in the cloud of dust a sort of dark patch. You maybe intuit a little bit from the fact that you've ridden on the road before that this very well could be a pretty large pothole. You might be able to circumvent it. It's pretty big. Do you slow down at all, or what do you do to kind of get past this it's right in your path, and there's a very narrow way to get past it if you're going to try?
I have a feeling that after traveling for a while, Arya would know that a tipped wagon is not a very good thing due to the weight, so probably she would bring us to a stop to check it out first.
Okay. So you pull back on the reins, you hear that like kind of from the pseudo griffin.
And she goes like, "It's okay, it's okay."
Yeah, he doesn't believe you.
You hear Debbie yelling from below, "Why are we stopping?"
You just hear, "Not the soup!"
And you just kind of you're all sort of,
sorry, honey. Oh no, is it all right?
It's okay. I just need a change of pants.
Oh, I'll be back in just a minute. I just want to make sure the road's okay.
all right, so you guys are stopped. What do you do when you stop? Anyone feel free to move about the cabin.
Debbie's painting her nails.
What color?
Rainbow.
Just one each nail? Or rainbow on each nail?
Yeah, like each side has like a nice rainbow. Pride month.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I would probably come out and
Arya. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would just say I would probably come out and join Arya in looking at whatever this is, because I just want us to get wherever we're going.
Selena would probably go to the kitchen to assist Mitchum, because she would have heard the scream.
He screamed way louder than it was worth. It like splashed a little
he
and
knows
got on his
too.
pants. He's fine.
She's like, okay, I have to go make sure he's okay. It's that kind of thing where when a kid falls, even if it's totally fine, you have to be like, you're okay, it's fine. Otherwise, they'll cry all the time.
He's got like his hands clutched on his pants. They're like in little knots, like.
Did you
Just
lose
sort of doing a
all of
little bit.
it?
No, I just got on my pants. I like these pants.
It's okay, we can wash them out. That's not a problem.
Okay.
I
was like 10, by the way.
Oh, I know. I was gonna
He's
say
just a
here, hand them
baby.
here, and then I was like, wait a minute, come with me. And I'll
All right, so
head to. I doubt we have a washroom, but maybe somewhere
you
where
have
we have
like a barrel on the outside of the wagon that you guys refill with water.
Okay.
Presumably your druids might have some resources to do that, but if not, you check it at the whenever you're unstopped, and it's basically like a pump inside in the kitchen space.
Okay, yeah. Well, I would take him there then and just help him rinse it off.
Just wringing out his pants. He's just fine. All
Mhm.
right, so you're helping Mitchum clean up a little bit, maybe mop up a little bit of. There was not much soup. It was like a couple cups of soup. It's a very tall pot. It's designed specifically to not spill that much when things get a little rough. So Lapis, you're downstairs. You came down. Arya, what are you doing now that you have stopped?
So, you said it just looks like a dark spot?
Well, yeah, it in the dust it looked like a dark spot in the road ahead of you. You stopped with enough time that there's probably like 20 feet, 30 feet ahead of you. You were like, I'm not getting near that, so you stopped appropriately. The dust is still kicked up a little bit. You'll probably have to get closer to see clearer what it actually is.
Before I do, just because Arya usually errs on the side of caution, what she's going to do is she's going to raise her hand a little bit, tap her toe, and snap. And then she's going to cast Mage Hand. And it's going to reach out and try to reach onto that spot.
Okay.
And see.
Your Mage Hand kind of appears and floats over. And as you have it leaning to touch the hole, what you think might be a hole, it kind of disappears a little bit as it kind of goes in. So you see it's a hole in the ground that the mage hand is near, kind of like a sort of like a crevice in the ground, a bit more than a pothole.
All right. I sort of cautiously go up to look.
Okay. So it is a crevice in the rock, like a big fissure. And it starts in sort of a random spot. Maybe there's like a few feet, not enough for your wagon to fit through, but a few feet from the edge of the jungle side, and this crack goes across the middle of the road, and then there's maybe 10 feet on the 10 or 11 feet on the other side, and that's the spot that you might be able to like weasel your way through. If you're very careful and very slow, you might be able to get through that side.
Real quick, can you describe that again? How there's one area that's like
the crack starts a few feet away from the jungle side of the canyon, and it goes across this canyon. This canyon's probably about 20 feet across right here. And there is the crevice goes all the way across about another 10 feet, and then there's maybe about my math's not great. There's probably another 10 or 11 feet of blank ground. It is not disturbed on the left side of the canyon floor.
So,
and that's 10 or 11 feet's about how wide your wagon is.
Lapis would have brought a lamp from the home, and he'll use what's the spell that I took for this? Control flames. It's a cantrip, and it lets me double the amount of light that this lantern will give off, so we can just see this all a little bit better.
Sure.
And I'll look at Arya and say, well, is this something you think you can drive us through?
If we take it slow, I don't want to risk the wagon getting stuck, but I think we can make it.
So I do have a question then. How deep is this crevice?
Okay, so you glance over with your lantern and look down. It goes a ways, like you can't really see the bottom.
So more than 20 feet would be my guess.
Yep.
I would not risk that. Never mind. Oh.
But you are in the middle of a canyon. It's like this way or back, and you guys have been on this canyon trail for a while.
So I have a question about a spell.
Sure.
I have one called Erupting Earth.
Okay.
And I choose a point I can see on the ground within range. And a fountain of churned earth and stone erupts in a 20-foot cube centered on that point. Now, if there's something on that area, it has to make a dex saving throw or take a lot of damage. And the area would be difficult terrain, but it would be terrain. So if I were to do that, would it make it wide enough for us?
I would say that the crevice on the side where that widest point is, it does seem to have a bit of an incline right there. So if you were to erupt earth maybe just beside it, you might be able to widen it a little bit more to get you a little bit more comfort. So yeah, I would say you'd probably be able to do that.
So I would look at Arya and say, I don't feel comfortable with this. And then I would fall into a stance that would be familiar to my old self, but in my wood elf form just feels weird. I don't feel as centered as I would like. I'm taller. I'm ganglier.
Your center of gravity changed. It's weird.
It's the worst. And it takes me, like, this is the first time I've actually tried to cast this since the change. And so it probably looks a little weird. Like I'm sort of wiggling around trying to find that comfortable position. And stupid elven. Why?
And Arya probably says, "Oh, right. You can do it." And then starts, because she probably recognizes the stance, and will start like petting the griffin's snout and like pulling it back.
Sure.
And I'm not even, I'm just like, this, I hate this so. And then my eyes will just flash, and it's as the green just becomes even more bright, and my feet will just sink into the ground a little bit, and the erupting earth will just slam into place, and I'll just get satisfied but still cranky, and just turn around and say, this is about as much as I can do to help. Good luck. And just stomp back to the homestead.
The rumbling is gonna like get Debbie out of the wagon.
Yeah, you hear,
and you're gonna hear her feet like
bit of a
on
tremor.
The ground. She's like, "Oh my god, Mom, what is going on?"
I'm sure it's just G-pop.
I forgot. G-pop.
What do I see? Like, what did the spell do?
So when Lapis, he basically
just
collapsed a little. He collapsed a bit of this fissure in the ground, and so there's kind of this like craggy, rough surface, more so than the road already was. Sort of taking up a few feet of the, or quite a bit actually. The depth affects a little bit of how much of that debris is visible. So it kind of filled a chunk of that space, and so there's some semblance of a bit of a road now, a bit more of a road, let's say.
Look at my mom's and be like, "What is this? Like, is it glowing? Like, what is going on?"
I am not sure entirely, but it looks like we're better off than when we stopped initially. I'm very confused. Just trying to figure out what the best course of action. Does it look safer?
Yeah.
I mean, there's less of a chance of falling into a crag now. So I would say that counts as safer. Sure.
Definitely.
Arya's a little lost for words because she saw Lapis pulling away, and she was like, she was about to do something, she was about to say something, and the words just didn't come, and she didn't know what to say. So she went back to looking and just trying to make sure that the way is safe, seeing if they can keep going.
So you sort of pat around that space, at a certain point you bring Halim, the pseudo dragon, over, have him kind of it seems pretty stable, and you only have to get across it once, so this is good enough for what we need to do. We need to move forward, and it's just more of a buffer than most of the weight of the wagon would not be on this spot. So you're probably good to try to cross it. So you're gonna.
And I might use a little bit of old earth to kind of help, like do the things, and just like I guess head back to the wagon and like painting my nails.
And then so Lena's still out, right?
Yeah, she is.
And so she looks up and she goes, Lena, I think we're okay, but just in case, if this starts to crack a little bit, just make sure everybody's ready to leave the wagon in case something gives.
Of course, dear. We're ready.
Thank you. And so she'll slowly, carefully start to try to lead Halim forward, just because it is rough terrain. She doesn't want Halim to get hurt. She doesn't want the wagon to tip, so she'd be very careful about this.
Sure. So it's a bit of a walk. Again, it's rough terrain, so it takes you a little longer to get across, and you will slowly bring the wagon across. It kind of rocks a little bit. It's a little like a Disney Animal Kingdom safari kind of thing.
Like she keeps on giving Halim pets. She keeps giving him scooches like, that's so good. Oh, no, you're good. Good boy. Oh.
You can pet the dog in the spectaculars.
You can pet the dog.
You hear Debbie downstairs grumbling about messing her nails up.
Well, then don't do your nails while we're driving.
Mom!
Mama!
So you guys are slowly driving across. It eventually there's kind of that sigh of relief as you completely cross over the threshold and you get back onto steady path. So you are able to continue on your path through this canyon. As the afternoon kind of fades a little bit, you are starting to see signs of civilization a little bit. There are occasionally you'll see on the desert side, you'll see a bit of a almost like abandoned farmland. It's not doing great. It's a desert space. The homes look relatively kept, but the farms are just they're just disasters. They're not at all fertile in this space. Almost wondering, like, why would they put a farm there? And as you're continuing, there are signs in this in sort of the flatter areas that say Hog Town this many miles, and you know that's the next town on your trip. So you are driving ahead. It's kind of one of those you get into a zone because you're driving down the highway for a long time. And
she would probably start like playing music as they go. just like either plucking some notes on the violin or something.
So as you're doing that, make me another perception check with disadvantage. Don't pluck and drive, kids. 12. As you are going, you feel a very heavy sort of dip as the wheel hits something, and you hear a very unpleasant noise, and you hear a very unhappy pseudo-griffin sort of making
I'm sorry, I was trying to avoid this.
And you start boom 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 boom, kind of something doesn't feel good on the wagon. And the griffin, Halim, he stops. He sort of stumbles to a stop. He's limping a little bit.
Oh no!
So you're stopped again, but not of your own volition, of Halim's volition. He doesn't want to go anywhere right now.
No! Oh goodness. Can I go forward and like see if I can help him in some way? It looks like he might be. I'm sorry. You're a very, very good. You're a good boy. You know what? Let me see.
He's like 14 feet tall too, by the way. It's a large creature. It's a big
and
moose.
she loves him. She adores him. He's a big boy. Anyway, so she's gonna try to get a look at Halim's leg.
Okay. Make me a medicine check.
He comes back out.
Throwing a curveball,
eating a dessert she's not supposed to eat out of the wagon. Her arms are crossed, and she's like, "What's wrong with the griffin, Mom?"
So that was a 6, and so she probably says, "I have no idea."
Broke
He's
the
limping,
griffin, Mom. Oh my god.
Yeah. The alternator's
breading
busted.
peanut
I don't
butter,
know
sorry.
what happened to the Griffin.
Low horsepower.
Well, no horsepower. He's a moose.
No.
So he's limping. You can assess at least that his leg hurts. That's about all you can assess. He's still walking on it. He's just limping. It's just he doesn't feel like pulling a wagon right now.
When we started the jerking sort of motion, I would, Lena.
What? She was like already on her way down, but is being caught on her way out.
I think your wife broke her wheel again. Can you go fix it?
Yes, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. She just picks up. Her dress is like just a little bit too long, so sometimes when she's in a hurry, she has to like pick it up and walk, like a princess. I love her. So she'll head out. And, which leg is the hurt leg?
It's the front right leg. The claw. It's one of the claw hooves. It's a little spindly. You can kind of see it's probably one of the more unsteady of the legs on him.
Okay. Well, Selena would probably come out and be not upset, like not mad, just very concerned. I'm like, is he hurt? What happened?
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Exactly.
Oh no.
There's two druids on this, and neither of them are in charge of the animal handling in this party.
This was something we gave in on. Arya wanted it, and both of us were like, fine.
Okay.
I'll feed him and clean his bridle and saddle him and everything.
I never had
We end up cleaning the cage every single week.
I don't know. He just stopped. We've been going for a long time. She takes a breath.
Deep breaths. It's all right.
I think he'll be okay.
Selena's going to go up to the leg. Would she would I have to do another medicine check to know if Cure Wounds would assist at all? It's not really a wound. It's not open.
Give me a medicine check.
Okay.
I know you could also do like a animal handling, but medicine, it's about what's actually wrong.
Oh man, I thought it was a 20, but it wasn't. Still good, 17.
Oh yeah. He sprained his ankle. It's fine. It's just he just needs a rest on it. It's not something that you would necessarily need to cure wounds, but it just needs time.
Yeah, she Selena's like not, I mean, she heals people, but she's not a nurse. She's not a medical expert by any means, but it's probably almost annoying in that she literally just sits down, puts her hand on it, pauses for a second, and goes, "It's just sprained. He'll be fine."
Just pat him.
Like big pet. It's like when your dog is like being over dramatic because you won't give it treats, and you're like, "You're gonna be fine," but it looks like it's dying. That's exactly what's happening.
Okay.
Speaking of treats, while
who
she's
all
doing this, can I be like trying to feed him like little bits of jerky and stuff?
Yes, you can. It's a very big moose, so it's not so much little pieces of jerky. It's like sticks of jerky. So Mitchum kind of peeks out from the front.
Is everything okay? What happened?
Oh,
broke the griffin again.
Oh, again.
It's okay. He just needs a rest, right, Lena?
Yeah. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He just sprained his ankle.
He does need a Yeah.
Why did he sprain his ankle?
You know what? Because it's perfect time to eat some of that soup that you made for us, right?
Okay.
So it's a good time for a break anyway.
Ooh.
So Arya and Selena are outside. Lapis and Debbie's outside. Who's inside?
I'm outside, I'm just watching and like eating a snack, just being totally unhelpful. A teen.
Typical.
Lapis, are you inside the wagon?
Yes, I'm inside with Mitchum. Mitchum?
Okay. Yeah, Mitchum.
Mitchum.
All right, Lapis, with your 17 passive perception, I won't even make you roll for this. You hear. I didn't mean to hit that. You hear behind in the back of the wagon, you have sort of a back exit door, and you hear a click, and you hear a quiet creak in the back of the wagon.
Yeah. I basically know where everyone is in my family, right?
Yep, you are aware. You are looking at one of them. You hear the other three.
So I will just gently put my hand on Mitchum and say, stay out of the way. And as I continue that move, I will turn and use my animal shape to turn into a poisonous snake and start sliding my way right back to that door.
Okay. Mitchum hears your instruction, has been trained very well, and he scurries into his bottom bunk. And so you, as the snake, are slowly winding your way. Presumably, you're hugging a wall or something in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
And as you get closer to the corner, the door opens, and you see peeking through you see a gray hand, kind of meaty gray hand, reach out. And I was gonna ask, Logan, we got a subscriber. Sorry, everyone. Thank you for the subscription.
Didn't know that was gonna happen. That was me.
I didn't know either.
I thought that's what happened when the door opened.
It's the long one,
like,
too. Hold on.
The hand is doing
Suddenly a bard busts through.
This is a good time.
Debbie.
Logan, our producer, I would like to apologize in advance. I forgot to remind you to turn those off. I had totally forgotten that they were there. That it's okay. We do that all the time, Elise. It's fine.
Pre-stress slow jams. It's
true. It's true. It's just a decompress.
I feel inspired suddenly.
Yeah, right. That was our very own Matthew Siebert who performed that. Thank you, Matthew. So anyway, back to the tension. As the gray hand slowly opens the door, you see, kind of up on a step in the back, a tall Goliath. Tall but gangly, like a very scrawny Goliath. He's got these sort of like natural tattoos in sort of black along his skin. He's wearing sort of baggy pants and a vest, and he's got thick wrappings of sort of a soft canvas binder, and his head is shaved black. He still has hair on his head, but it's shaved. And he's got a kind of let's call it like a policeman's club, like sort of a stick in his hand as he's opening the door, and he's kind of looking around, seeing if anybody's in, and he starts like getting a foot up in the wagon.
So, quick question.
It's pretty young. Yeah.
That was my question. Was going to be, how old does he look?
Looks I mean, Goliaths get pretty big pretty quick, but it's probably a teenager, probably like an older teenager, maybe like 16, 17.
Yeah. Before he gets too far in, I'm going to sort of slide right into the middle of the hall and rear up and make as direct eye contact as a snake can possibly make with a Goliath who's not quite inside this wagon yet. And not do anything, just make very direct eye contact to see what his response is.
It takes a second for the Goliath to notice, but when he does, he kind of goes wide-eyed and it's just like, holy crap, and like bashes down
Whoa! Cool special effects.
He explodes. No, it's sorry. He bashes his club down on the ground, not on the snake, but like trying to like
Okay. So
trying to shoot.
having been a part of this family as long as I have, I recognize whether this is a threat or not, and I don't feel like this kid is like, I mean, I just don't feel like he's going to be that tough a threat to.
He didn't
he's not
seem willing to smush a snake.
Exactly. And so I'll drop my snake form and turn back into my wood elf self, which is really what they say.
And he kind of like backs up.
Yeah.
And you guys kind of have a little visual standoff.
Can you be helped?
We're gonna pause right there. We will get back to that. In the front, Arya and Selena and Debbie are in the front assessing the beloved Moose Griffin. And from the bushes, a figure emerges from the bushes really quick, like jumping out. And it is a young human man with a kind of hood over him to protect him from the sun on the desert-ish sun. He's hopping out from like a really dead shrub on the desert side. And he has a handheld crossbow, and he's sort of holding it at you. And he shouts at you, all right, you guys you just stay there. You stay there.
She immediately rages and like she feels angry, like, oh my god, who are you? And she like pulls out her halberd and is like, get away from my mom.
And he like sort of jumps back and keeps the
front. Arya steps in front. We're not in initiative yet, are we?
No.
Okay, she's gonna hold her hand out. And then let me make sure that I can do what I can do. She says, all right, I think you need to take a breath, lower the crossbow.
You need to put your head down.
And tell us what you need. And she casts suggestion.
Well played.
Oh, good.
Hold on.
Does that have a I'm just gonna rely on you guys. Do I have to roll anything for that?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's good.
This is the target must make a wisdom saving throw, and on a failed save,
okay.
it pursues the course of action you described to the best of its ability.
It rolled he rolled a 17.
That succeeds.
Which is shocking. His wisdom's garbage. Obviously.
You just rolled well.
He's somehow determined by the fact that he's armed.
You just give me the where's the gold? Give me the gold.
And he's
Okay.
you can see his crossbows shaking. He's not done this before.
We can give you some gold. We can give you some food too. You look like you're hungry.
At the mention of food, the crossbow lowers a little bit. And he puts it back up.
No, just
And Arya's just smiling and holding her hands up while he's pointing it at her.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you are there?
It's
A
just
few.
us three.
It's just us. And we're not gonna hurt you if you don't hurt us. We can be
I just
friendly.
need the gold. That's all I need.
And his eye line, you can clearly see his eye line is looking back at the wagon for a second, and then he looks back at you.
Don't want any trouble. You don't have to have any trouble if you just want to give me the. What do you got on you?
So-
Can I?
No, go ahead.
That look back at the wagon, would I have seen that? Can I like roll insight to see if I like? Because I'm like,
no,
or
you
is
would
he
have
just
noticed.
interested?
You would have noticed. I'm looking at your passive insight.
I'm like-
You would have seen that.
Okay, so I look back at the wagon. immediately feeling very worried. Can I cast this without someone being in line of sight? Hang on a minute. It doesn't say that they have to be in line of sight.
Okay.
So I tap my foot, and then Arya taps her foot, and she points back towards the wagon, and she whispers, "Is everything okay?" And tries to send a message to Lapis. And apparently they can.
Okay.
Can they respond?
Yeah, they can respond.
They can
You
reply.
can reply to this message.
You can reply to this message.
Yeah. It can go through walls, by the way, so you're fine.
We're gonna say that we're now. We're gonna say that we're now parallel timelines. So Lapis and the Goliath are having their little standoff, and Arya just sent to you, Lapis.
Yeah, as soon as I got that, I would say, we have a visitor back here. Well, I think I can handle him. How are you?
We're setting a squad up.
She casts the cantrip again and says, "We've got this." And I'm assuming that the kid's hearing this.
Are you talking? He's clearly very perturbed by this.
Going on, I'm gonna reach in my bag, acting like I'm getting something for the bandit, and as I do that, I'm gonna grab my focus and cast Hold Person on the guy with the crossbow.
Okay.
Nice.
What has to be rolled for that, if anything?
Sorry,
What has to be rolled for that, if anything?
Let's see here. So choose a humanoid within range. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be paralyzed for the duration.
Okay, so next one. So he was already kind of naturally petrified by this whole situation, and you just see as he has his hand out, just everything clamps, and he clearly has no control over his body. He tenses enough that he lets a bow loose or a bolt loose. It like ping, and it hits right between your legs, Arya, like at your feet, like on the ground.
Let me take that from you. And I snatch his crossbow. If I see any other weapons on it, I'm gonna pat him down.
He's got a dagger. He's got like a hunting knife on him, but it's away.
Threatening my mom's? How dare you? And I just start taking all the stuff and putting it in my backpack. Like, oh, this is a nice crossbow. Thank you.
He's just like
I
still.
go back to my
He
mom's
can't talk.
Yeah.
He looks terrified.
And like after that, like Arya looks a little frozen for like a couple of seconds. She's like,
You look down at the bolt. He looks down at the bolt. You both look at each other, and you see this sort of more terror in his eyes.
Selena's gonna. No, go ahead.
No, go for it, Selena.
Oh no. She's gonna go up and set a very gentle hand on his shoulder, like not trying to coerce or anything, and just say, "Surely we can all talk this out over some food. You look very hungry. If you need some gold, we'd be more than happy to help you out. We just all need to calm down." Do we object to having a guest for dinner? She asks the others.
I think we should.
We never object to having a guest for dinner.
Hurt mom, like.
That is fair. I mean, not much he can do now.
Yeah, he didn't mean to, right? And she looks right at him. You're hungry. You're scared. You don't have a reason to be. And she actually goes down to her pouch and she pulls out a little bit of gold and she has it in an open palm. When the spell stops, are you going to hurt us? Okay, then we're good.
Pause there. Cut back to Lapis and the Goliath.
Is Debbie going to hurt him? Is the question I would be asking.
She's really like teenager raging, like, how dare you hurt my mom? But she confiscated all his stuff, so she's kind of like, she's on guard, but
I got some
she's not gonna like attack unless something weird happens. So
Cool. So I'm looking at this Goliath, and so what's your next step here, kid?
This was dumb. This was really dumb. Bailing made me do it. He said this would be the best way to make a little coin, and and he puts his hands up. He drops the thing. He's like, "I'm sorry."
All right. Step out.
Yes, sir.
I follow him down, and I make him walk around to the side, and I'm like, Lena.
Yes, G-Pop.
There's another one. I'm assuming you're gonna
Now,
do
you
something.
didn't tell us you had friends. She turns to the human.
So we'll come around to the front, so that in time for this one to see his friend frozen with none of his weapons, and Debbie is where I will direct his gaze, because I empathize with Debbie's thoughts a lot.
And, I'm like, Grandpa, who's that? And I start reaching for the crossbow because I'm like really worried right now.
Oh,
The Goliath sort of instinctively raises his hands a little higher when he sees Debbie.
Okay,
like,
and I kind of like, it's kind of like, it's not to the ground, but it's not aimed at him. It's kind of middle, ready.
I'm a little insulted that you think I can't handle a kid.
Oh, it's a kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like 16, man. I mean, sir.
I give him that side eye. It's just like, don't push it.
sorry, Grandpa.
Are you two affiliated, or is this coincidence?
I'm affiliated, unfortunately.
Okay, this is all just a big misunderstanding.
Wait.
Is the whole person still up?
Wait. Where's
Yeah, like his
sorry.
feet. It's like, I'd say
Mitchum?
torso down. He is like
Mitchum?
locked, but maybe like the top half up so he can talk.
Slowly lowering it.
Mitchum's in his bunk. He's safe.
I'm okay.
Oh.
Just stay there for a minute.
Okay.
Aria.
There was a lot of banging on the floor.
Do you really think I'm gonna let him?
Everything's fine. We're gonna have some friends for dinner.
What?
No, I mean joining us for dinner. Eating dinner with us, not for dinner.
You said I wasn't allowed to do that.
You're not. You're not, dear. It's This is a
Oh, Mom, I think you should let him eat him this time. I'm just saying.
Sorry, Lapis. What were you saying?
What was that?
We interrupted you with our slapstick. What were you saying?
I was just looking at Arya and saying, do you really think I would have let something happen to him?
I know you wouldn't.
Really?
I'm worried, okay? I'm sorry.
Everything is fine. Everything is fine. I gotta say, we did lose a little bit of soup to the accident, but I think we can manage. I think there's enough for everyone. No need for panic.
Yeah, we can pull back from that tragedy.
I look at the Goliath kid and I'm just like, You've gone from intruder to guest. Put your arms down.
Yes, sir.
I like this one.
He's probably about a foot taller than you, Lapis. He's tall and gangly.
I'm old and crotchety. It's fine.
How long does hold person last? Is it a minute?
Yeah, it's a minute, so I'm guessing by now
The human who you might have assessed now is named Bailing. He's still sort of in position. He's kind of afraid to move. So he's just like, if I don't move, they won't notice.
Yeah, Debbie's got her arms crossed and she's just staring at him like, seriously.
He looks about the same age as the Goliath, about 16 or about 17, we'll say. Yeah, you have two guests.
Guests. Selena will like join him and very gently escort him in. Like she knows that she has that calming aura and she's trying to rub some of it off on him. Just kind of guiding him toward the kitchen. Or, well, I guess it wouldn't be the kitchen. We don't eat in the kitchen. Is there? Do we eat in the kitchen?
There's a nook.
Okay.
There's a dining nook.
Okay.
The Goliath realizes that he's like actually a little too tall. He never actually got all the way into the wagon, and he has to kind of. He's very aware that his head is like there. So he's kind of slouched a little bit. And his human friend, the human boy, has he's got pale skin with freckles and a couple of little like scratches on his lip, like little old scars. He just looks a little rough on the edges. And they're both like constantly making eye contact with each other, like, what the hell are we doing here? The Bailing, the human, looks around. What kind of circus are you people?
No circus, dear. We don't do acts.
Well, you don't.
Okay. I meant like trapeze artist. Obvious music does not a circus make. It is part of a circus, but it doesn't make a circus.
Excuse me.
The Goliath
just
smacks his friend on the shoulder and he's like, I told you. He saw the painting on the side of your wagon, thought you were like traveling performers or something.
Some of us are.
He thought you'd have like a lockbox or something where you'd have, all your earnings from performances or something.
No.
Take it from somebody who has been one of those types of performers before. Generally, the smart ones don't do that. Either the money gets spent on new equipment, on food, but usually it's held on the person because we know better.
Right. I told you, man. And Bailing's like, David, I'm sorry. Jeez. Yeah, sorry. We didn't mean to hold you at crossbow point.
It's all right. Though I'd rather you not do it again. Are you all right? Awkward question, I know, but why are you trying to hold up people on the road? That's not a good choice of profession or safe choice of profession.
Especially when you're this bad at it.
The two boys look at each other for a minute, and David, the Goliath, he says, well, there's not a lot of options for us right now. Things being how they are in town, we just trying to make a little money. There's just not much to do around. Yeah. He just doesn't really have much. He's not very forthright.
Yeah, is something going on in the town, or is it just not a whole lot going on there at all?
Oh, you're not from around here.
Mm-mm.
No, we're travelers.
I don't know how to describe this. Okay. The land is like super pissed off right now. That's right.
Like
That's
the
how you put
Earth?
it, right?
Not
Bailing
Earth.
kind of waves him off. You're in that canyon, right? Like the canyon? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like 6 months old. That's like new. That's not normal around here. We're usually pretty chill, and it's a bit intense.
Like you just went to bed and woke up and it was there?
Kinda, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So everything used to be like all farmland around here, and just we all just lived here and we all got along and everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, like all the green died, but then it all moved over there. And he like points to the other side of the canyon, and so everything's just kind of broken right now. Everybody left town, and the few of us that stuck, there's nothing to do. There's no money. Nobody's coming through, not with the wall, and just there's too much. There's just a lot going on right now. It's just really stressful. We make bad decisions.
Sorry. So Debbie's like tilting back in her chair, like chomping on gum, blowing bubbles, and she's like, "So who caused this?" And she's gonna. Can I roll an insight check to see if they're being honest?
Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead and roll insight.
Oh man. Sorry about the flare.
It's okay. It's just Mitchum. It's fine. Oh man.
$17.
What they describe, it does not take it. They don't really know what to make of what's going on, but they seem pretty on the level about describing that the land is pissed off right now for some reason.
Yeah,
Debbie doesn't respond. She just snaps the bubble like.
Do you have any idea when this started?
Debbie.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. The popping like draws Devin's attention. He's kind of like, it disrupts what he like. His expression is disrupted every time it pops.
So when did this start? Did this start 6 months ago, or was there something that happened right before that?
The canyon started 6 months ago, but then this is Bailing the human. It started about 6 months ago, but like this has been going on for a couple of years. Like weird stuff's been happening, and we all thought it was just kind of like, it'll blow through. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then like the land started changing, and that's when things got kind of serious. And the canyon decided to, boop, out of nowhere, and yeah. David.
Are people not able to pass through here?
David shakes his head. He's kind of leaning back. Not really. People left through the desert side. They didn't really want to deal with whatever was in the jungle. But yeah, it's hard passing through. The long road gets cut right down the middle. There's a big kind of wall that got ripped up out of the ground in the middle of town. You can't really pass through very easy. Pretty much everybody on one side decided to just go, and the others, built ladders, climbed over, and got out.
I kind of want to try something. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I want to. Go for it. When I hear what they're talking about, I want to make eye contact with Lena, and just sort of give her the "I'll be right back" look, and I start heading out to the out the back door, and I want to see if I can use these two skills in conjunction.
Okay, what do you want to do?
So I want to use survival, but I want to use survival after I have used meld with stone.
Okay. For what intention? What are you trying to do?
To see if I can get any sense of whether this is actually like the earth upset, or if this is like if this feels like it's more of an arcana thing.
Okay.
Like if this is more magical in nature. I mean, it seems pretty obvious,
No,
but I want to
gotcha.
double check it.
Go ahead. That's fun.
Cool. So I would cast Meld into Stone, which basically just puts me into the stone. No one can see me anymore. And then a survival check is going to be a 17.
Okay. How long do you stay melded into stone? You don't feel much at first. How long do you commit to it?
I can stay up to 8 hours. So if I feel like there's anything that is
Okay.
giving me that
Sleepover.
direction, then I'm going to follow whatever my senses tell me. And I mean, having been an earth I'm sorry, I just forgot. I'm like Janai. Janai is not the right word. What is it? The
Genasi.
I'm very comfortable being in this space, and this is one of the few times I feel like my old self, and not this reincarnated elf being. And so I'm totally committed to as long as it takes. And I know that Lena knows I'm not going to leave, so she's gonna be like, he's doing something weird again.
Doing G-pop things.
So you concentrate on this feeling of melding into the canyon wall, and it's dry and dusty. It feels almost lifeless. There's no moisture in this thing. And you meld in, and you just kind of sink into that very familiar, very comforting feeling of being one with that sort of element. And it's dark, obviously. It's thankfully cooler inside the stone. And you're there for a while, and you understand that things on a geological scale and things having to do with the earth often are a bit slower. There's a gradual movement of time when you're dealing with whether it's the earth, the element, the
You're breaking up really bad. I can't understand.
I'm glad it's not just me.
No.
It wasn't for a little bit now, where she's in this really derpy pose. But it's okay, we still love you.
Oh no! Yep. We appear to have lost our
story.
GM.
Make our own story.
Take over! Oh no!
I guess we could move back. Oh, she's the NPC though.
I feel like Debbie starts directing the show.
She's back. I see her.
All right, we're gonna get her back in just a second.
I'm seeing if I'm connected.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Welcome back.
Sugar. Okay.
Welcome back.
I'm gonna assume that something funky happened with the server we were on in Discord. I swapped from what we were on. Okay, so you meld into the stone. You're there for maybe a half an hour of just this quiet, contemplative silence, this calmness, until in that connection with the stone, you start getting back into that vibe of understanding how the earth kind of breathes, how it exists, the natural forces that connect rock and stone and earth, and you feel this sort of natural force flowing through you as you're sitting there, and you start hearing, or at least you think you're hearing, it could be vibration, it could just be this minuscule connection to the actual physical state of rock, this sort of what feels almost like an inhale and feels almost like an exhale. It's very slow, like a minute of inhale, a minute of exhale. And you sort of hear, what languages do you understand?
I speak Common, and what else do I have? Druidic, and was it not Infernal, but Julia, do you remember what the...
It's primordial, maybe? That's
Elvish.
what,
I see
undercommon?
Elvish in here too.
Well, I don't think I would say Elvish because I was not born an elf, so I would have had no way to learn Elvish.
Yeah, it's not really.
Let me check my traits.
If you're asking,
I was gonna say you probably
with the earth, wouldn't it be primordial?
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of inching towards. Seeing if do you understand primordial? Should have been my question.
Primordial is Genasi.
Perfect. I do.
Okay. Then you do. So in this very calming, very slow-paced breathing, you almost understand that it's almost whispers of primordial language. Something in the vicinity is connected to the earth, and something in this vicinity is kind of calling out through the stone. It's hard to sort of understand what the words are. It's very distant. It's like hearing someone through a storm, trying to listen to someone shout at you through a storm, but it's calm and still. And it's again, it's like that sort of reverberation. So you feel that there's something nearby through that stone connection, but you can't hear the words.
Can I get a direction sense off of it?
It is if say north is where the town is, you're heading north on the road, it's northwest. Like it's heading, you have to go towards the town to get to this sound, to get to the origins of that.
And how long have I been in the ground at this point?
You have been in the ground for probably 45 minutes at this point.
Okay. I will reluctantly excise myself from the earth. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if everyone's still inside or, if people have stepped out or not, but I'm going to go where I hear the family at.
I'll go fast forward a little as he exits the stone. You guys have had sort of an awkward dinner with the boys.
I probably lit candles around, started playing music, playing a little bit on my panpipes. Just to calm.
I went outside to go. I kind of go outside to pout because I'm already like, God, why is Mom being so nice to these jerks? So I'm outside reading a magazine or kind of a foot up against the wagon, just being pouty teen, looking at the stars.
Some of us know what it feels like to be hungry and desperate for money.
Usually people who are mean have a reason to be. Sometimes it's fixable. Not always.
Do they ever get to meanness?
Not really, but you know what I mean.
I'm an egocentric teen, so I'm just oh, my moms don't understand me.
At some point, Selena would have definitely gotten Mitchum and kind of explained the situation. Maybe not said, "Hey, kid, we got robbed," but more just, "We have some guests."
Unsuccessfully.
Yeah. We have some guests. Things are a little awkward, but it's okay. You can ask them anything. She's like, anything.
So Debbie left and Selena turned around to talk to someone else?
No, she went to go get Mitchum.
Right, but so as she's going to get Mitchum, she's leaving Arya alone with the two?
Yeah.
Okay.
She'll explain herself. She'll be like, I'm going to go get our youngest. I'm sure everything will be okay. You know how to entertain people.
I do.
Just kind of I don't.
The boys
Just a
kind of turn to Arya
upset.
questioning.
And she just like Arya is actually
Mm.
like she sort of was looking a little bit like confused for a second, but then she starts talking and she's just you know how people just sort of melt when they're listening to somebody who they really really like, just like oh okay. So as soon as she leaves, she'll look back at the boys. She'll say something along
5 feet that way.
you
as
know,
soon
I mean,
as she leaves.
leaves. She turns around, and
Sure.
Arya says quietly, she knows that Selena will hear her, but she says, I don't know how you guys have been surviving, and I'm impressed. I will say, threatening people is not a good idea, especially in large groups. You never know when someone might get protective. So I hope that our hospitality has convinced you not to try that again. We won't be so nice next time.
David, the Goliath, nods very gravely, and Bailing is just frozen. David nudges him in the shoulder, and Bailey's like, "Yes, ma'am."
And she's very aware. She looks terrified. Like her eyes are like, I didn't describe this earlier, like bright yellow on black. So she knows she's kind of scary looking. So, okay, good. And then she just keeps on eating. You know, maybe even whistling as she does.
It takes a little while, but David sort of studies Arya for a moment and then very tentatively says, so if you're not circus folk and you can do all that, and he points over his shoulder back where Debbie left the wagon. What are you doing out here?
A lot, much the same that you're doing. We're
robbing people?
No, not that kind of same.
Failing at robbing people?
Fair.
I mean, you know, prices for adventuring, people could argue with it. Never mind. We're travelers. We're a family. We found each other. We're traveling around the world and we're seeing who might need our help. And sometimes people are nice and they give us money for that so that we can keep on traveling. And we're figuring it out from there.
Okay. So what kind of stuff do you do for money? Like, yeah.
Sorry, you cut out. So I'm thinking, do you say what sort of stuff do you...
What kind of stuff do you do for money?
A lot of different things work. Sometimes it just takes music. Sometimes it'll take delivering things. Sometimes it involves fighting monsters. That part's a lot safer when you've got more people.
That comment makes David glance over at Bailing. Bailing looks at him and they seem to pass a message to each other silently. Would you maybe and Bailing bursts out, we need help.
I mean, I couldn't have guessed. You tried to rob us on the road.
No, I mean, like, the town needs help. There's not a lot of people left, and people have just sort of given up on Hogtown, but that it's our home, and we really would like to fix the earth consuming the town. It would be great if it wasn't doing that.
Seems like a hard problem to fix, but that's the kind of thing that we would generally do.
David says there's like I guess there's monsters. I guess you could call them that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Selena would probably have returned with Mitchum by now. Didn't take super long. She was just like, "Hey, come on, we're having dinner. We have weird guests. Let's go."
Okay.
So probably would have walked in at monsters.
There's monsters.
And Debbie's still outside, like she's listening in, and like part of her is like really impressed at how her mom's like flexing the mom skills and like negotiating things. But she also knows if anyone comes up and sees her, she'll immediately like cross her arms and just like start snapping gum. Like it's no big deal.
Care.
She doesn't want anyone to
know. So David, he leans forward and things come out of the jungle at night, and you can hear the rocks moving on the other side of town. There's stuff. We're all kind of okay. We didn't really like survive on our own. I mean, I appreciate the compliment, but that's not what. There's a bunch of us holed up in Miss Jasper's tavern, and we just all hang out there mostly. She's got all the food and the ale, so we just kind of hang out there. But she's been putting so much into everything that we wanted to try to give her something back for sticking it out.
Is everybody? It sounds like Miss Jasper isn't, but is everybody the same age as you?
No, we're just a few people from my clan are still here, mostly to take care of the boar, but we just couldn't leave them. And Bailing's family, they're still around too. They just, I don't know why they stayed. Bailing just kind of shrugs. Yeah, my dad's a stubborn son of a bitch.
We've had our fair share of those.
So there's monsters coming from the jungle, and you hear rocks moving from the other side of the wall.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's like stuff over there. I don't go over the wall, but on this side of the wall, you can hear a lot of stuff going on. I don't know what's what, but it all started happening when the canyon went up, and then the wall went up, and then we don't know what's going on.
Is there anybody who does go over the wall?
I mean, Miss Jasper does sometimes when she's scavenging. She's a tough broad. And my cousin, he'll go over with her. This is sorry, I'm using sort of the same voices for them. This is Devin saying one of his cousins goes over.
While the conversation continues, Selena's probably going to go and look out back for Lapis. Even if, he might not be back yet, she at least is, like, scoping out. Just wants to make sure everything's peachy keen.
Debbie prices her and is like, "Hey, Mom.
Hey. Have you had your fill of dinner?"
Yeah, I've also had my fill of those mean guys.
They're really not that bad. They're dealing with stuff, and we help people who need stuff dealt with, so.
It's kind of like, looks down, like she kind of hears it for a minute, and then she snaps back and is just like, "Where's Grandpa? He's been gone for a while."
That is a good question. I'm sure he's around here somewhere.
At this point, Lapis has emerged from the stone. He'd probably be walking back. I would imagine you walked quite a ways away from the wagon to no?
Just phases out of the wall like the Terminator, and we're like, "Where is Dad?"
Where's Grandpa?
He's not meditating again or something.
One more time. We couldn't hear you. You might not have pushed to talk.
I would have gotten into the ground as soon as possible, so I probably would just have stepped off to the right of the and then just up.
Sure. All right, then. Boom. Grandpa appears. A wild grandpa appears.
Like brushing the twigs and stuff off. I'm like, Grandpa, you're all dirty. I start like brushing the stuff off him.
Oh,
Figure out anything useful.
well, there's something over, and I point in that direction, the northwest, you said? Northeast side of the town? And I'm like, there's something over there, and it's definitely impacting on the earth. So that's where we're going.
Does it seem like a being or like the actual ground doing something?
It felt like the earth was trying to speak. Maybe it's this new stupid elfin body that I couldn't understand, but there was something, and it's
We'll
that
figure
way.
something out.
Well, we're going, so you should get people packed up. And I head up to the front and cast Cure Wounds on our pseudo griffin so that its ankle is no longer sprained. And then I come right around back. I'm like, it's time to go.
At that, Selena will probably go towards which wheel was impacted. If any.
It was one of the rear wheels. But you do see that it was it had hit a crevice that had been covered by a tarp.
Doesn't exist if you can't see it.
Yeah. Bailing glances out from behind the wagon and sees what Selena's looking at. Sorry. I'll get that. And he starts
Oh, that was on purpose.
rolling up the tarp.
Very smart, you know? Like, don't do it again, but very smart tactic.
Your wife made that very clear. He just sort of very politely avoids eye contact and rolls up the tarp.
And by the way, said wife is like peeking out of the wagon and just watching.
She's probably going to go up. Does it look mendable?
The wheel's a little busted, but you could probably, with a couple of mendings, you might be able to get it done.
Yeah, I was gonna say not like just a brute and it's done, but like just taking a little sweet.
You'll need someone to like help you line it up, make sure it's all actually in the right spot, so when you mend it together, it's in the right orientation. But I'd say with a couple of castings or a few castings and some focus, you could start.
Yeah, Selena will be like. Selena will be like, Debbie, come be irritated over here and hold this wheel.
Fine. And she comes over and helps out.
Losing you again.
No.
Oh, you're back.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
Cool.
Yeah. I would definitely look at Arya and say, as soon as that's ready, we're ready to go.
David climbs out and offers to help as well with the wagon wheel.
You're muted.
One more time, Arya.
Sorry. Arya pulls out. I forgot to push to talk. Oops.
It happens. It's okay.
Arya pulls out her fiddle, and then I think. So who all is trying to lift it?
I know I'm helping with a wheel or something.
So I thought
basically like Debbie's like holding it, and Selena's casting mending on it to try to fix it.
Okay.
David's just holding it, like trying
and
to
David.
Brute force.
I'm not sure if this would do any good, but Arya is going to be playing her fiddle, and she's going to give an inspiration point to Selena.
Okay. I will, just for the sake of brevity, the inspiration does help you feel a little bolstered by that, and with a little bit of work together, you lift the wheel up, or Devin's holding the wagon a little bit, and Debbie and David are both holding the wagon. Someone's helping Selena sort of put the wheel together, and you cast Mending, and you hear this and sort of starts kind of reverse fracturing and combining back together into the right spots for the wheel to be fixed. Luckily, it didn't break the axle. That probably would have been a lot worse. But you do have a functioning wagon and a functioning, if not disgruntled, pseudo-griffin.
Say, nice work, Mom. And, like, I hear my boots.
You too, sweetie.
Back on the wagon.
All right. So you all climb aboard the wagon, and you start heading slowly with David and Bailing helping you navigate through the canyon, saying, okay, we had another one of those tarps over there. You can kind of go that way and it'll be fine. Directing your way through so you don't have any more issues trying to travel. So as the canyon starts sloping down a little bit. It's not as dramatic. As you get a little closer to Hogtown, you see by a couple of signs as you pass. It's getting a little dimmer. It's like you had an early dinner. You sort of took a break right after, the stress of the robbery. And so there's still enough light to see, but the sun is setting, or starting to set. And you are in a relatively small town. There were probably under 1,000 people that lived there. It's the long road would theoretically go all the way through, almost like a Wild West town with a central road. And this road is intersected down the middle, almost at a diagonal, just cut right through with this craggy natural wall. It's about 7-8 feet tall. That's just sort of erupted from the ground. A couple of the buildings have been completely crushed by this thing coming up from its foundations. So there's just this wall that came from the ground and has completely bisected the town across the road you need to get out, and the residences of the town. It's sort of half and half of this desert. And if you look to the east, some of the trees and the vining have just started consuming some of the town, like overgrown. It looks old and ancient, but according to the boys, it is not. Very relatively new growth. And as you are driving through, and you park the wagon, it's kind of quiet for a little while, and you hear, I'd say the druids specifically probably notice this kind of really light cracking noise from the jungle side of the town, almost like the sound of bamboo, like something slowly growing. But from the perspective of plants, that's really fast. So you can hear things continuing to grow and move in the jungle side, as if it is just kind of quietly overtaking things. So you guys are in the town, and just kind of very humble houses, wood structures. They don't go higher than 2 or 3 stories. Some of them are 3-story, including this tavern that David and Bailing lead you to. You notice as you're walking, you kind of park Halem. Is it Halem? Yes, it's Halim. Sorry. You park Halim and the wagon. He just sort of digs into the ground, and you get him off his harness, and he just kind of starts grazing on some of the jungle. And Mitchum stays in the wagon. He wants to stay with Halem. He kind of like rides him. He puts his hands on Halim's horns. And as you guys walk towards the tavern, you see many of the houses are missing doors and windows. Not like ripped off, but like carefully removed with tools. Like the shutters have been taken off their hinges, the doors have been removed from some of these empty houses, and you see the tavern has been reinforced with these extra doors and window shutters and all of these excess, whatever could be salvaged and removable easily, got pasted and nailed and attached to reinforce the tavern. It's like a little mini fortress right now. So you are heading towards this tavern, and Bailing and David explain that this is where they've been living and camping out. There's only a handful of people still in town, 10 to 15 people maybe, out of many hundreds. The initial erection of the wall in the middle of town drove most of the people off. They were like, nope, I'm out, bye. And they just bounced. And then it just slowly started trickling more and more. Members of the Tribor clan, the Goliaths, started trying to herd their boar away from town. You get the vibe that this town was originally a Goliath settlement, and a population of humans immigrated to the area, and they all kind of cohabitated the space. The humans were the ones that were running the farmland, and the Goliaths were herders naturally, and so they kind of came into this economic cohabitation of farming and livestock. But that's all in the past. It's just a ghost town at this point. And you arrive at this tavern. The tavern is, the sign's all gone. They apparently used it somewhere else to reinforce something else. It's like, it's loose wood. We can't waste it. And when you enter, you have kind of dim light and some beds kind of put to the side. People seem to be wanting to be on the bottom floor so that they can get out in a hurry in case something structural becomes a problem. And there are in the room, you have 3 Goliaths, much bigger than David, but with similar tattooing. 2 men, completely bald, pretty much hairless, and a woman about middle age with dark black hair pulled into a braid down her back. And they're all just sitting there drinking in sort of depressed silence. And you see a older woman, probably in her 60s and 70s. She is a human with olive skin, very her skin is a map of a story of the life she's lived. Let's just say she's very very lived, and just kind of hammering a shutter against a wall to add more reinforcement to what seems to be a load bearing wall. So the boys lead you in, and David goes to his Goliath family. Somebody slaps him on the head, shakes his buzzed hair, and he sits down with his family. And Bailing leads you to who you must assume is Miss Jasper. Miss Jasper, you got some we got in trouble. And Jasper turns around and looks at the boy. What'd you do now? Oh, we did that thing you told us not to do. God dang it, boy. And she just kind of nudges him. Go to sleep. And she walks up to you all with a bit of a careful eye. She's sussing you all out. Can I help you folk?
Maybe we can help you?
That's so.
We heard from the boys that a bit of trouble started within the past couple of months, and there might be something that is going on beyond the wall that might be causing all of the problems that you guys have been having in this area recently.
He did he? Well, they got the right of it. Something's lost balance. This place used to be green pastures and grasslands, and now it's like the land's got split personalities. It's the dry on one side and the overgrown on the other. It's just run amok.
Like there's literally a split. There's the huge jungle and the never mind.
Yeah. So what are y'all proposing?
Well, we are people who travel and help others, so, we're not miracle workers, but, we could take a crack at it and see what we can do for you.
I suppose we could use a crack of a miracle. She pulls a bottle from under the bar and pulls out some glasses, counts, eyes Debbie, puts
She
one
just
glass
snarks
away.
with this place is totally weird, and just starts writing in her diary.
She puts an extra glass away after seeing that from Debbie, and pours kind of this cranberry red liquid into these sort of tumblers. Suppose if we're gonna try to work together to figure something out, might as well drink on it. That's kind of the law of the
He grabs
land.
one of the clean glasses and grabs out her water skin and just pours her own drink and just keeps going.
Yeah, keep walking, darling.
I'm sorry, but can I just have some water? This weak elven body can't handle these things. I just push it back towards her.
No partying for G-pop?
I've only got this frissy sparkling stuff. Is that all right with you? It keeps better than the well water lately. And she'll fizzes and pours you basically a seltzer or a Perrier.
Perrier.
Exactly what I'm drinking. Excellent.
There you go.
I have a question.
Yes.
Speaking of just random uses of spells and flaunting magic,
Always
I have
excited by that.
frostbite as a cantrip. Can I just use that to chill my glass?
Yes, you absolutely may.
Cool. And awesome. I'm
One
very
with
particular.
the air, and it just slows the molecules down, and you see the condensation on the glass. Jasper does notice that, but doesn't say anything. She just kind of impressed. And
I just have this look like, my grandpa's totally cool. Mm-hmm.
He almost beat up these guys today. It was really rad. So Jasper lifts a glass, clinks each of your glasses, and says, "All right, well, we drink on it, and we see what comes of what."
Fine by me.
I sit back and let Arya do all the negotiating here because better charisma than I've got.
Sure. Jasper puts her elbows on the bar and seeing that Arya clearly leans into this, says, "Now y'all might notice that we don't really have much in the way of payment right now. We're a bit scrapped for civilization, if you know what I mean. But if there's anything you can do, any insight into what's going on, we'd be grateful." And by grateful, I mean I got a little coin squirreled away that I might be able to offer. Yeah.
I mean, we're passing through here regardless, so for now the coin is not as important as, kill two birds with one stone. We can make safe passage. You guys are happy,
Honestly, we could make this one of our regular stops. If we ever are passing by this way again, we can give you guys some help again for maybe, we have a wagon, but it's nice to have a more permanent roof over our heads. Maybe some rooms when we pass through, some food.
We do
That
have.
That I can do.
We also have a thing for not letting kids become highway robbers. So.
And not letting a town live in fear. When we were talking before, I talked with those two a little bit, and they mentioned that you had been beyond the wall. Could you tell us a little more about what's going on over there?
Well, I've been keeping mostly to town, but the side of town over there, that was City Hall and some of the more official-like buildings. They're not holding up too well. Looks to me like some of the woods even, damned if I know, petrifying over there. Things are just kind of, it's like the rock's just taking everything back. I don't know. But I've been trying to keep one of these, keep one of the Tribor fellas with me when I go. But there's you know when you have a tumbleweed, right? It just kind of blows through town. Well, they got like rocks over there that do that. It's a little weird. Try to keep away from those. Like a little mini avalanche, but on the ground. And I've been hearing a couple weird things over there lately. Now on the jungle side, there's some chittering and some animal noises. I don't mess with that much. But I've been hearing some of the same ones over on the rock side. Maybe it's kind of like a scuffle the other night. So maybe they don't get along too well, things on either side.
Things on both sides. I know this is going back a little bit, but is there anything you can remember about what might have caused this? Like if anybody unusual might have passed through right before this started? Anything happened right before this started?
You know, I thought that to myself when things sort of started getting bad. And I can't remember anybody coming through that might have raised an alarm in my mind. But so a couple years back, there was a heck of dickens of a storm that was out over near the canyons. Canyons used to be a few miles out, not actually near town. And there was some wallop of a storm that kicked up. And after that, the land's been disgruntled ever since. That is. That's the start of it for me, I think. Whatever caused that storm must have been mighty powerful and mighty in tune with what's going on here.
Was the storm coming from a specific direction?
Yeah. The canyons used to be that direction. She points to the northeast or northwest of town. They seem to have shifted a bit closer. You might have noticed on the long road. They shift around sometimes too. That's dumb. But it almost feels like there's a tug of war happening. Like sometimes it'll shift, you know? Before the wall came up, that is, it would shift the jungle and the rock.
Wait, and forgive me if you've already said something about this. The wall came up after the trouble started?
Yeah, things had been accelerating. The wall is pretty recent. Couple months now. People been leaving pretty steady after it did. But hell if I know what's going on. She clinks Arya's glass. That's not really my purview. I keep the glasses full and the beds clean, and that seems to be enough for them.
So you've talked a lot about the jungle and the wall. Has anybody gotten a good look at the creatures? I mean, you've had to put a lot of protection on this tavern. What has anybody gotten a good look at what's been coming out of the jungle?
Mostly just noises. It's been our experience, at least in forest, that you don't typically want to deal with the things that come out at night out of a forest. Not really. We haven't really seen much of what's been going on out there.
Okay. So there hasn't been any direct attacks?
The trees have been taken over. That's the biggest thing we've been noticing. Just you go to sleep one night and you got a certain bit of, say, a building, and then you wake up and the whole thing's overrun by vines and greenery, like just overnight. Losing our town's been what we've been most afeared of.
Well, hopefully that isn't going to go on for much longer. And then she looks at the rest of the family. I think just the smartest thing to do now is at least get a good look at what's on the other side of the wall. Lapis, you said you heard something over there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's wisest to go at night or not, but I'd like to get started.
Well, the rock side of the wall tends to be kind of quiet at night. The jungle side is when it gets a little feisty, at least by the sound of it. So, I can't really fault you much if you want to go over there now.
Quick question. Wait, no, yeah. Lapis heard the sound happening during the day. And I'm assuming because I made this connection, Arya would have made this connection too. Arya looks, narrows her eyes for a second and says, Lapis, would you? I have a thought. Could we possibly try to speak with the earth again after the sun's gone down?
Sure, absolutely. I can do that.
Whatever's going on, it might be moving to the opposite place depending on the time of day, is what I'm thinking.
That's a real good thought. Let's test that. Meanwhile, Lena, if we go do this by the wall, can you see if you can tell anything of what's happening, whether it's magic or...
I don't know if I can do anything specifically earthen, but I mean, I can see what we can vet out. It's worth a shot.
Is there anything Debbie can do? I don't know what her skill set is.
Chew gum and complain.
Yep. No. So
she's all out of bubble gum.
So Lapis wants to meditate. So what is the goal? What are you hoping to achieve? Because I have like 4 levels in wizard and like 1 level in barbarian. So I have like great armor and an attitude rage problem.
Yeah, if you can check out do an arcana check, and if you have any spells that'll give you any insight into perhaps how magical this is, because
okay.
Oh, I can do that.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I just can't do anything specifically earthen. But I mean magic, yeah. I got you, G-Pop.
Yeah, so think we can go and check this out on this side for tonight and then determine what we're going to do after we all rest.
What's that saying? Make hay while the sun don't shine?
Right.
Let's go.
Suppose I'll leave you to it then. Y'all need anything else, you just let me know.
I do have one request.
Thank you.
Sure, darling.
She pulls out, she's going to pull out about 10 gold. And she's going to split it into 2 palms of 5 and then pass it over to her. Could you give this to the family of those 2 boys?
Sure.
You know, and just make sure that they get as much food as you can give them.
Can do. I mean, that'll be more use when if the town comes back. But I'll have it squirreled away for them. I'll give it to them. Thank you. They try their best. They're idiots sometimes.
It's okay, no harm done. I mean, mild harm done to our animal, but it's all good.
No irreversible harm done.
She's got it.
You know, and
please tell me someone smacked him.
Debbie almost
wanted to. Does intention count?
We don't condone violence towards idiots in our family.
Especially when the definition of idiot also can be defined as scared kid.
That's fair. All right. Thank you for anything you can do.
And
of course,
go.
So you end up so you guys head out of the tavern. David sort of nods, doesn't say anything, but Bailing is just avoiding your gaze. He's just a little terrified. But you all go towards the wall. You see this, as I said, a 7 or 8 foot protruding wall that has erupted from the earth. It's this sort of orange clay rock that has climbed up from the depths and has completely bisected diagonally across the long road down the middle of town. So you guys are about, let's say you're about 30 feet away from it right now, but you're heading towards it. As you will.
So, go ahead.
I would say Selena is probably going to cast Detect Magic and just start walking. And just see if anything comes up.
Yeah, the wall is natural. It is just stone. It is not a magical stone. It's not, I mean, if it has been created by magical means, it is just a mundane object at this point. There's not really much to be ascertained from that. It is not of arcane origin or anything like that. And it is real, presumably. You don't get any sense of like an illusion magic or anything like that.
Okay. I would walk right up to it and cast the not erupting earth. That's not what I want. I want meld into stone again, and just walk right into it. And again, try and use either survival or perception to see what I can sense in there.
Okay. You feel that very similar sensation of just entering cool familiarity. Go ahead, Arya.
And as he melds into the stone, Arya is going to try to like beat her feet on the ground, like percussion wise, and give him a point of inspiration, hoping like the vibrations will get through to him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so as you're melding in, you're a little thrown off because you're used to waiting before you hear something, and you feel that sort of like, wait, is that a jig? And you realize it's probably Arya stomping on the ground. So you feel that, and so when you hear that, you get that sense of my family's here, you know, stuff is dumb right now. You don't like how you feel. You don't like feel like you're in your own skin, but you do at least recognize that connection with your family. So there's a sense of calm and reassurance from that from Maria. So it will take, again, a little while, but you know what you're listening for now.
And I rolled a dirty 20, so that helps.
That's good too. Yes, that does. But okay, so in that vein, you know what you're listening for. You know it's going to require a little bit of patience to really delve in and feel that what's just like the lowest subwoofer noise. It's just very low on your register of feeling vibration, and you just calmly meditate in that sensation. Eventually you do start hearing that it doesn't take as long this time. And partly you realize because you're closer to the epicenter of whatever's making that noise. And so you are sitting there and listening, and what starts as this low rumble of a hum, kind of, you start hearing that sound again, that like someone shouting through a storm kind of sensation. Then you start hearing distinct vowels, distinct sounds. That idea of primordial, earth and primordial kind of sounds like a rock slide. And you start hearing those little changes in pitch and crack. Something sounds like pebbles, something sounds like a big boulder rolling. There's just different sort of effects that you would hear. Like someone has a canyon soundboard and they're playing stuff on it.
Nice.
So you start hearing that, and you speak primordial. You understand a little bit clearer because you're closer to the epicenter of these vibrations. You start catching words. It's not full sentences. It's almost like whatever's speaking is speaking in such a primal way that they're only able to express very basic concepts. You don't hear like, "Hi, how are you? My name is whatever." You're just hearing words that mean pain and loss, and a word that is best defined in common as like my heart. It means partly, it would partly mean something that is very precious. So you get the impression that whatever this, I mean, you hear this primordial, you feel how intrinsically tied it is to the earth. That, roll me a nature check. What was it, 27 you said? Push to talk?
Yeah, it was a nat 20, so it was a...
Okay. Lapis, you speak primordial. You understand how the earth is connected to the druidic forces of the world and where the world came from. You have a suspicion that what this is a primordial itself. It is an old soul, an old spirit connected to the earth. And it is in pain, and it has lost its heart, as it says. But it's ancient. It's beyond history. This being that's somewhere nearby.
All right. Do I have a better sense of the direction?
Yes, you feel it's almost like old school Daredevil vision. Like you see the ring, or more like Toph from Avatar. You see the rings like in your mind's eye. You do get a sense of where that is coming from. So yeah, it's a little northeast of here, but it's within walking distance. It's not that far.
Which side of the wall is it on?
It's on the opposite side, the rock side of the wall that you guys are not on.
Cool. I would step out and all right. Aria, Lena, here's what we got. Something stole a primordial's heart. I don't know how that's done, but it's something we need to figure out how to fix if we're going to help these people, but more important, help this primordial.
Absolutely.
It means to the other side of the wall.
While this is going on, Debbie might wander off into the woods a little bit.
Okay.
To go look like she's screwing off, but she's not. I think she's learned some of the stuff that she knows from her grandfather. So hearing what her grandfather said, she might without out of sight of everyone, she doesn't want anyone to know she's being serious. She knows about the deity Chantia of the earth, so she starts casting mold earth and starts concentrating on the spell to see if she can kind of reach out to the earth deity to be like, where do we find a primordial heart? So I don't know if maybe an arcana religion thing. But she wants to help out. She just doesn't want anyone seeing her being a good kid.
All right. Well, all right. So Debbie, you kind of understand fine if you're going to be connected to the earth, you probably have to sit down. So you sit down and
I'll set up my little spell components that I'm sure my grandpa gave me or something and do the thing.
So you kind of sit, you're like, all right, I'm going to think about the earth and nature and all that. And you're thinking about this prayer, kind of understanding about being one with nature. You start listening to, you hear bugs, you hear kind of cicadas, that ticking, whirring noise in the distance. They're kind of speaking to each other. You hear kind of owls in the distance. So there's lots of life in this overgrown space. And you're sitting there and you're thinking about just trying to connect with the Mother Earth. And you hear a noise sort of off to the side. And this noise is similar to what Selena and Lapis would have earlier noticed, which was that sound of overgrowing vine. But in addition to that sound of overgrowing vine, you hear a very tiny voice grunting and kind of cursing under its breath. Make a perception check.
I'm just thinking, oh my god, what is that? All right, that is 19 total.
19, okay. So it's really hard to see them at first, but you see this little flash of white. And what you realize, there's these tiny little, they're probably about this big, 6 inches tall. These little figures. They're kind of made of this amorphous, black smoke, but they're humanoid figures. They've got kind of this whir of hair, and they kind of move like ink in water. That's kind of the effect that they have. And there's a couple of these little ones. They're kind of crouched, and they have little leaf or woven baskets and stuff, and they're holding them. They're kind of clutching them. It's and one of them is pushing against a vine that seems to be shoving it out of a it almost looked like a little nest, like a little burrow, and this vine is just bursting out of this hole, and the little creature's trying to push it back, but it gets shoved and it just falls on its butt in the dirt, and the vine just takes over the nest and just consumes it. And the little figure just this is very perturbed. So despite the little smoky black ink effect on the body, they have these tiny little white faces. They kind of look like masks, and the masks have little swirls on them and stuff. And so he's just sitting there, and just like pounds its hands into the dirt, and it doesn't do anything. And one of the little figures comes up behind it and pats it on the shoulder. They don't seem to notice you right now, but they're just kind of sad that this vining seems to have displaced them from their hovel.
And is this kind of like a vision, or is this happening around me?
Oh no, this is happening around you. They're over there. They're like in the dirt 2 feet away from you.
Oh, dang. I know I'm out of sight of everyone, so I'll watch them. If they don't look like they're doing anything else interesting, I'll like stealth over and be like, I found something.
If you start getting up, one of them notices you. I was like, and like starts banging on one of the other ones, and pointing, and they all notice you now. There's like 5 of them, and they kind of scurry over to you, Debbie.
I give them treats. I'm like, here, cookies.
You drop any bubble gum?
Or why not? I'm like, anything you want. Here you go.
Drop some bubble gum. One of them looks at it. It's like pink. Oh my god. And it kind of looks at it and starts pulling it. Magic. It says in common. You do magic?
And I'll try to control, like, I can do control flames, so I might like, I think I did that one. Oh, I have create bonfire, so I might like grab a stick and go like over a stick and then snap my fingers and make it go
out. 2 of them go and like scurry into the greenery. But sorry. But one of them just like lifts their hands in triumph, like
Do any of us notice that?
Debbie's in the woods. I mean, you can go find Debbie. But I mean, okay.
Like, what are you guys doing?
What's your passive, Aria? Is 15. I mean, Debbie did just light a fire in the woods. If one of you
doesn't have to notice her.
If one of you goes,
she doesn't
where's
have to notice her.
Okay, so for now, if Debbie does something more, well, I'll let you know.
Yeah, it was when Debbie walked off. Aria probably watched her walk off, but like was distinctly pretending not to be watching her walk off. She was like, no, independence.
Keeping an eye on the
that is where she is.
Must know where the ducklings are. Okay, I know where the duckling is. Okay, so the one that lifted its hand in triumph was the one that got booted out of the nest. Was trying to fight the vines to get out, and
my ass, what are you doing?
You took her home.
Really? You're a cute little guy. What you doing?
Trying to live.
What's that?
It's not going great.
And so he looks to the side and like signals to his friends, and presumably it's like a little family, points to the others, and they pull from under the bushes a knapsack, like just a bag that seemed to have been left in the woods. And they pull it out, and he kind of buries into it and kind of digs around. You kind of lose him for a little bit. You just hear moving around. And then he pulls out what looks like a scroll. And he starts.
Nice. I like hand him some like zebra stripe gum. Like,
We didn't hear anything you just said, Angela.
Sorry. Can you hear me okay now or no? Okay. Okay. He drags the scroll to Debbie, shouting, "You do magic! You do magic!"
Yeah.
Dragging the scroll at you. Leaves it at your feet and sort of pats it. You can help! You can do magic!
I'm afraid to touch it, but I like it open to see what it says.
It is a relatively simple spell. You've seen it. I don't know if you have it, so I'm not sure if you know of a rope trick.
I don't have that one.
So
I'm sure my family told me about it.
So the little guy says, "No, we need a place to live. We need a place to live so everything can fix. We'll wait in there. But we don't know how to do this." And so he points at the scroll again. "Can you do it?"
I just pick it up, and with a wave of my wizardly hand, I try to cast it.
Give me an Arcana check with advantage, since you are an arcane caster.
Yay,
so.
Ooh, I'm glad I did that, because one was a 1 and one's an 18. What do I have on the sheet? With an Arcana, so dirty 20.
Okay, yeah. So you understand sort of how it's a pretty rudimentary spell scroll. It's not like no one's trying to like obfuscate how to cast rope trick in this
Sunbeam.
right. So you get the gist of it, and you understand based on some of the runes. You know where the models for how to do the somatic components are, and you go through the spell, and it goes off without a hitch. You have a little like portal kind of a thing, and then it disappears, and then from that space a little rope comes down. Well, a relatively big rope. It's a rope, human sized, and you hear more than 5 voices go, and a bunch of these little figures come out of the woodwork, so to speak.
Wow.
There's probably about 20 of them, and they're like cheering you, and and
Debbie Prince is very cool.
So they're just like all around your feet, and the little one who got pushed out of the house tugs on your pant leg, and like,
all right, what do I do with the little guy?
Waves for you to like lean down.
Okay, so I bend down. Like, listen.
And he just kind of bops you on the nose. But as he bops you on the nose, you feel like this sort of warmth flash through your face, and everything goes white for a second in your vision. But then as the white fades, everything around you is kind of grays, but it's like someone turned the contrast up. You can see better. It's dark, but you've got dark vision. Do you normally have dark vision as a half elf?
I don't think half elf does.
Then yes, you have dark vision right now. And so what, just mechanically, so you know this, this is a magical gift. It's a charm of dark vision that it bestowed upon you. You can cast dark vision as an action, no components required, 2 more times, and then the charm goes away. So you have the dark vision spell.
Keep it on.
First one was cast on you. So yeah, he does that as a thank you, and then you start seeing the little guys climbing up the rope and disappearing into the portal. Just like little it's very
Can
like
I peek in the portal? Do I see
you
anything in there?
don't see anything as they climb in, and they're gone. Like it's an invisible portal at this point. And then lastly, a few of them are coming back with a little wagon being pulled by, for you, a very large snail. Like, it's this big. It's like the size of a house cat. And
I feel like that's cute, but Debbie is like, what is
and
that?
the little fellows sort of dab at your feet and point like, he can't come. You take him.
Okay, I'll take him, and I kind of like, I try to be polite and like grab it, like.
So this thing feels like you picked it up.
I got a snail baby.
It feels like a cat made out of a beanbag, or like a cat made out of a Stretch Armstrong.
That's a guy.
So you have this very large snail, and the little little guy who was sort of your. Oh no! I found a veil for Kelrick. I shouldn't have talked about snails. So these guys are climbing up, and your little friend he bops his nose at you like, remember I did that, and he says you are a friend of the Trinka for all time.
The Trinka. That's awesome.
And
Great friends.
and he salutes you, and he climbs up the rope, and then you see the rope get pulled up, and they're gone.
Debbie's like, that is the most coolest thing that has ever happened. Oh my god. And I probably walk back to the family, and I'm just like, oh my god, I saw this thing, and I'm like really excited. Like,
you're holding a snail the size of a cat right now too.
They gave me. What should we name it?
And then
Are you gonna take care of it?
Ari,
Name it Nope.
The minute she sees it, she's just like, you know, she's having like more pets.
Yeah, and normally like Debbie doesn't like slimy things, but it's kind of growing on her. So she's like, "Oh, those guys are kind of cute." So
I just realized that I'm the Nigel Thornberry.
Arya slowly grows a big nose. Smashing.
Oh my god, you just turn around and suddenly Nigel. Yeah.
We were just having a conversation about a broken-hearted primordial, and now here we are.
Do you know how hard it was to find Wild Thornberry's gifts to do Twitter posts about this game? They were all just Nigel being photoshopped onto other things. I could not find
That
any
wouldn't have been
legitimate-
incorrect now.
and then drop them into Twitter. That's what I cheated. Yeah, it's hard.
All right, so the group of you, Debbie returns with a new snail friend, and you are all at the wall. What
Find anything useful, dear? Other than our new friend, apparently.
Oh, there was like these, I don't know, they're little like inky spiritual creatures, and there was vines, and I did a scroll with a road trip, and they went into a portal. They had like a home over there.
Are you
and was the home
tired?
when I did one of grandpa's rituals? Like, it was so cool. It was so cool. I've never seen anything like that before.
It sounds very fascinating.
And
She's like half believes her, half is like maybe she's just delirious. I don't know.
They give her a thumb.
She's dreamed how reason to pick up a crazy giant snail. Maybe there's something.
Yeah,
it's
who
like a
knows what she's
drug,
doing
I
right
don't
now.
know. It's gross.
So what do you do? You have the wall, you have the message, you have the snail.
Like, is it a normal or snails?
Put the snail in the earth.
Like,
Oh, snail familiars are now a thing.
My snail's going to attack.
Real
Snail.
slow.
Speed of like -2 per round.
like hold this. I'm like, do you see anything, snail friends? Kind of stare at it a little bit. No.
Just very
What should we do,
slowly.
family? I don't know.
I hate everything.
So it I can't tell if that was in character.
Good.
All right. So barring any other preparation or ideas, I assume you all decide to start making your way over the wall or out on to the other side of the wall, however you choose to do that.
Yes.
My
Would
family.
we all? How tall is it again?
It's like
I
7
know
or 8 feet
very,
tall.
but okay.
we could stand on each other's shoulders would be a thing, but they mentioned ladders.
There are
Backing
ladders
in.
on the wall already. Like there are some that have been sort of like dug into the ground to give it a little bit more reinforcement. didn't seem like a Goliath would have a lot of luck with a particular ladder, so it seems like they reinforced one so that it would hold them.
Okay. Even
Yeah,
if
we'll
it was
just climb.
reinforced, Arya would probably like go up and like try to shake it and make sure.
Yeah, check it out. You got kicked the tires. I understand.
And then, you know, only after that would be like, okay, it looks fine.
All right, so you don't have no surprises. You don't have any problems getting up over the ladder.
We got up a wall.
Side. Good job, everybody. So you each one at a time climb. Debbie, you find that the snail is remarkably bag-sized. If you would like to put it in a bag for a bit, and
the snail.
And you, if you name it, let me know. You climb over the wall. There is another ladder.
Steve.
Not Nigel. There's a ladder on the other side, and you cross successfully. You are kind of near a building. It just sort of seemed like a nondescript residential building or some sort of business, and it's very Ghost Wild West right now. It's Dust Bowl. A lot of the buildings have structurally collapsed a little bit. You see that there's some again sort of jutting out stalagmites kind of out of the ground. It's a little chaotic, just like there was kind of like something had a tantrum, let's say that. And you but things are relatively quiet. There's not much happening right now. Debbie, you can see great. You're like, wow, this is kind of cool to be able to see in the dark.
I have dark vision too.
Yeah. Well, I meant for Debbie, it's new. So,
can I ask a question really quick?
Yes.
Where's Mitchum?
I was thinking the same thing, so I was about to be like, looks like Mitchum was here. What a mess.
And Jasper was over at Miss Jasper was over at the Moose and like giving Mitchum food. Mitchum's just like on top and eating. Who knows what she's feeding him. But he seemed very excited and that he probably had adult supervision. Jasper seems like the kind of like, you know, it takes a village to raise a family. You know, they got to go do stuff. I'll make sure their kid doesn't run off.
He's with the babysitter. We can focus.
So yes, Mitchum need not be worried about. So it is relatively quiet here in the town, rather on the dust side of town. You make your way through several alleyways and streets. Again, it's a lot of the same abandoned buildings. Some of them have their windows and shutters and doors carefully removed via tools because clearly Miss Jasper's been this direction. And the destruction of the town, or like the rock formations, seem to get a little more severe as you start heading to the outskirts of town, this direction. So you're kind of following the almost like a ripple wave of destruction that happened. This almost like something freaked out, and the tremor that was exuded from that freak out seemed to have dissipated by the time it hit Hogtown. So you are walking, you stop being in town, you start being in kind of some residential suburb, couple of houses, then you start being in more farmland, and that farmland has been just completely destroyed. Lots of rocks jutting out, farmhouses completely obliterated from just falling into chasms. You recognize that sort of vibe from the canyon. And as you continue traveling, you start seeing what it's probably an hour or two. It's getting pretty dark. It's probably an hour or so of walking, I'd say. You start getting closer to what Miss Jasper had pointed out previously, which was the the canyons, the original canyons. So as you travel closer to those canyons, you weirdly start feeling a tremor in the ground. Lapis, this is familiar. You're just not used to not being in the rock when you feel it. The whatever this primordial being is, you're starting to feel its presence even outside of the stone. It is this, like I said, this sort of very delicate trembling of the earth. You kind of hear it a little bit. You hear like stones and pebbles hitting the ground a little bit, kind of like a. I always have weird references, kind of like the stampede in Lion King. It's kind of like that sort of thing, you notice, but it's sort of
way less tragic.
Yeah, but sort of perpetual.
Please.
It's. I promise. No lions were harmed in the making of this, except for the quarter lion at the beginning of the game. But he's fine. He's fine. So you start heading towards this canyon, and that rumbling gets a little stronger. And then you start hearing this sort of deep tone, and then this sort of higher tone. You Lapis, you get the sense that this is that breathing sensation that you were hearing before.
Okay.
And the canyon lays before you. You are in sort of it's kind of a V shape in the opening, at least this initial opening. And again, very Monument Valley, very tall, very like weirdly out of place. Like, why do you just jut out like that? Clearly some sort of maybe ocean existed here before, back in the day, geologically speaking. That these are just protrusions from previous states this land was in. But now it is barren. It is stone. And you see maybe hints of plant life that might have existed before. Very, very dead. Near petrified. Very not living anymore. So you have this canyon ahead of you, and you hear this breathing and rumbling, getting a little deeper. What do you do? Do you continue forward towards this noise?
I definitely do. I have a purpose in getting there.
Sure.
I think it speaks in part to that feeling of who I feel I used to be and what was right, because this is stone, and then I'm a mountain circle druid, and so this feels like something that's calling me back to myself, and so I am just laser focused.
Gotcha. So Lapis is clearly leading the way here with a determination that some of you may share, but is clearly not as hyper focused as he is. So Lapis, you enter this canyon space, and that echoing noise just gets louder. You're in the middle of a sound cage here. It just echoes off of every surface. It's this kind of every step you take, and it seems like this droning tone is kind of just growing a little bit louder as and just kind of just filling the air. It's just a vibration in the air at this point. And ahead of you, you see a sort of rock formation. It's kind of it doesn't look like rock in the sense of it doesn't look like the canyon. It doesn't look like a boulder. It looks almost like a rock slide, like what had become of a rock slide. But then it moves a little, and there are vines sort of in the cracks and crevices of some of this rock. Almost like some dead tree was in there as well. And you sort of feel that vibration stop for a moment. And it's just really quiet. Hold on one sec. And then that drone starts again at a slightly different pitch. And you see the rocks start to move. And it's 4 fingers grip the dirt. And an arm pushes off from the ground. And everything's trembling. And we're talking the fingers of this thing are 6 feet tall. And it's big. And just the more it slowly lifts itself up, it feels tired. The slowness is from both its size, but also this weariness it seems to be exuding. And as what you seem to be able to assess are shoulders, reach up, turning up to face you is just this sort of bare rock face with eyes that are glowing with that orange tint that all the sandstone has, all of this orange clay and rock have, but it's just sort of this like living light in its eyes, and it clearly has seen you. the group of you.
I think I would quickly reach over and like grab Arya's arm, and I would say, Arya, do you have anything to amplify our voices at all? I know that this high-pitched elven voice I have now is like screeching, but something to where this thing can hear us.
Push to talk if you can, or if you're just looking, that's fine. If you need both hands to research, that's a-okay. One more time, Arya. You got push to talk.
I forgot. I was so in the moment.
Oh gosh. It's like Arya.
So
Arya, stop.
Arya, we need you, Arya. Anyway. Okay. She thinks about it, and would thaumaturgy work on someone else's voice? As well as her own?
I believe it's a self spell. I believe it is thaumaturgy, at least how I've always described it is you are using divine or infernal power that you have connection to amplify yourself. You are performing a miracle using thaumaturgy. It's not necessarily something that you can imbue on another person.
So, she thinks, and she looks at him and she says, I can make myself really loud. I don't know if I can give it to you.
That's okay. Lena. Arya, we know that Arya can mimic very well. So, and you also speak primordial. So, just tell her what to say, so that this thing can know why we're here.
Muted, Selena.
Mm-hmm. 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 I will say a couple of things first. First of all, I love this. Second of all, Aria, with your understanding of performance, you do have a sense of how to do impressions or how to kind of just be mindful of what is essentially a tonal language, but is kind of like Foley tonal language.
Yeah.
Yes. With that in mind, Aria, Selena's helping you. She might be. You guys go back and forth a little bit. She describes, kind of like, oh no, not like a 10-foot boulder, like a 20-foot boulder noise. Trying to like coach you a little bit. So with Selena helping you, I would like you to give me a performance check, and I will not give you disadvantage for trying to recreate a noise. Exactly.
Leviosa. It's like, no, it's not like the rocks in a brook. It's the rocks from an avalanche. Just
it's different rocks. Come on, they're rocks. Rocks are different.
I said sandstone. Sandstone.
She clears her throat. Mm-hmm. She takes a deep breath. She casts thaumaturgy. And this is performance?
Yes, it's a performance check.
So that is 19.
Okay. All right. That is, for someone who has never spoken the language before, you sound like a child watching Dora the Explorer, except it's primordial. So you are able to get a little bit across, you think. Lapis and Selena, you're both like, ooh, that's close. Okay.
In the middle of the phrase, like her voice cracks. She's just like, like she kind of doesn't get it.
We mean you know ham?
We mean you boots. I mean.
So Aria, you're able to, you do this kind of weird grumbly noise, and it's odd doing essentially sound effects, but understanding that that's a language and there's nuance and incredible, you get an incredible respect for Lapis and Selena, realizing how much effort it must be to communicate through this, and how in touch with the earth you have to be to even begin to understand this.
So extra reasons for my love. Okay.
Yeah. So so you say a couple of phrases and it's real loud because your thaumaturgy, 3 times louder, 30 times louder? What is it? Yeah, 3 times louder. So Debbie's like, God, Mom. And and so you say a couple of things, and Lapis and Selena, you're like, oh, that word actually came out pretty clear. And when that happens, the primordial, the earth primordial, kind of moves a little swifter, looks a little attentive more than it did. It just kind of had this weary malaise before. And it kind of puts its palms on the ground near, like, in front of you guys, but like to the side, and kind of lays down like near you, kind of realizes you are very tiny, and seems to have the humility to be like, okay, I'll get down to your level. And you're still shouting at it, but it seems like you still need to kind of shout at it to get this across. And so tell me again, what sort of your what are you trying to get across, Selena and Aria? What are you trying to?
Mean any harm? We've come to help. We are coming to help recover what was lost.
Okay. So the primordial is listening very carefully. It, again, sort of seems a little curious. Sometimes when Aria slips in a word, it kind of blinks. It's like the most expression you get from it. But when you start getting your words right, it doesn't blink. It just watches intently and listens. And when you get to that sentiment of we're trying to recover what was lost, you feel this deep rumble come from its chest. Well, kind of from everything. From the whole canyon. The whole canyon seems to sigh with this sort of beleaguered sadness. And it just stays near you all for a little while. It almost like it's trying to recover from the memory you just gave it again. And it seems to try to whisper, but it's gigantic and it's connected to everything around you. So it's still so loud. And you just feel this vibration. It's like someone put a subwoofer in your face and turned it up to maximum. And it's just somebody's got leaf blower face a little bit.
Arya tries not to panic.
And Lapis and Selena both, it's like hearing someone I apologies for all the metaphors, but I hope it's getting it across. It's like somebody in a microphone and it's clipping really badly. It's just too loud. You can sort of get it, but it's almost too intense for you to get every word. But it speaks of its heart again. It speaks of that loneliness and loss. And it says something a little odd that Lapis and Selena, you weren't expecting. It says, it was my friend, and it is gone. I don't know where it is. And my partner and I can't rejoin until my heart is back with me. That is sort of what it expresses. And it just sort of rumbles.
Sad rumble.
Yeah, sad primordial rumble. Debbie, the snail in your bag starts like...
So they don't know what happened.
And then I pull out the snail and watch what it does.
Snail, it's like this.
Oh, okay.
Everything goes silent when Debbie pulls the snail out. No rumbles. No nothing. And the primordial kind of glances over at Debbie. Like, Debbie, this thing leans towards you. It's like a giant face. Just in your face. This thing is like...
I'm just all like, oh god,
like,
don't hurt me.
The face of this thing is like the height of a room. It's like the size of your wagon.
Like I'm interested and kind of like slightly scared.
And
don't breathe.
and the snail's kind of just like, whatever, just kind of there. And then the primordial's eyes widen a little bit and makes kind of a grumble noise, like, and it does that really loud thing again of trying to speak. And Debbie, it's like right in your face. It kind of sounds angry to you. You're like, oh God, it's gonna eat me. And Lapis and Selena, you hear just in this primordial language is something equivalent to there you are. And Debbie, you're standing there, and the primordial puts its finger out, and the finger is taller than you are. And
I want
you put the snail on his finger. And he kind of pulls it away, and there's this little cat-sized snail on his finger. And
Later, Steve.
And he kind of looks at it, and it looks like a weird visual trick. You're like, that can't be what's happening. The snail's getting bigger, and it's
bad touch.
And so the snail is getting bigger, and it starts climbing like shockingly fast for the snail. Starts climbing up his arm, and it starts getting a little bigger, and eventually it just kind
snail, of course.
Yeah, it just kind of eventually, a few minutes pass, it kind of perches on his shoulder, and it's like uncomfortably large now, but it's too far away for you to really fully understand how big this thing got. And it just kind of pats this big snail, and there's just a rumble in the cavern or in the canyon, and there's just like the rumble gets really loud for a moment, and you all just sort of like woof, like this shockwave of air as it calls out. And it doesn't seem to, it's not something that Lapis or Selena, it's not something you recognize. It's not a word necessarily. It could be a name that it calls out for. And the elemental leans down towards you, and it kind of winces a little and looks down, and in one of the cracks where that like dead tree was, you see it like it flowers a little, like there's a little like little greenery and vining, and it kind of reaches down and plucks what is essentially a very large stick, but it looks like a little twig, and places it on the ground about 20 feet in front of you. And it has little flowers on it, and sort of leaves a hand for you, just sort of.
So Selena will go up to it and tentatively, like, making sure she's doing what is intended, and like picking it up.
Mm-hmm. The primordial just.
Wait, did you say it was huge?
Well, it's not huge. It was
just with one
like
hand lifted an entire tree branch.
No, it was a toothpick for the primordial. It's probably like a baseball bat for you. But it's sort of this gnarly piece of like rooted wood that has these little like white flowers that are now growing, a little bit of greenery. It's still growing too as you pick it up. It's like moving a little. But the primordial watches you.
That's beautiful.
It doesn't nod or anything, but it doesn't stop you, and it just watches. Goes back to very slowly petting the snail. And it turns. You all like kind of brace yourselves a little bit as it seems to be ready to take a step. And it walks away from you very very slowly, and kind of takes a turn, an unexpected turn, and just starts very much like Lapis, starts melding into the canyon wall. And the snail goes with it.
Dang.
Okay,
Good.
considering Arya did not understand a thing that was just said, the second it's there, like she like had her shoulders up, she was just staring, and the second it's gone, she goes,
If Lapis, I imagine you're keeping very close watch on what this primordial's doing as it's doing its thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
As it blends in to the wall, there's more of that rumble, but it's more subtle because it's not out in the open anymore. And you just hear that sort of primordial rock slide sort of noises. And it kind of echoes out into the sky, but you get the sense that it's gratitude that it's expressing.
Awesome.
And a word that kind of resonates very oddly for you, it sort of translates to child.
It's slime baby. That makes perfect sense.
You get the sense it was talking about you.
Oh, okay.
But as it blends into the canyon wall, there's like a really giant like it sort of is there now as part of the canyon, but you see what kind of looks like a snail fossil, like a big fossil in the wall.
Aww.
That's awesome.
It's really cute.
So you're kind of left there alone in the canyon with this stick.
He's like, oh my god, that was like so cool.
Okay, did I really say
Weird
what
way
you
to say
wanted me
case
say?
closed, but case closed?
Was I just telling you a lot of really raunchy stuff, or was I actually saying what I needed to say?
Honey, I would never, ever make you sound stupid
I just sort of
Yeah,
do
you
this
wouldn't, would you?
without your
the hand
consent.
wavering thing.
Good point. Right.
The stick and I give it to one of my moms. Here you go. Let's do something.
Would it be an Arcana check to see
What is this?
why this is growing?
Nature.
Survival?
Oh, I
Nature?
can
Give it a
identify.
nature check.
Oh,
I'll do a nature.
I have a +1 in
Where's
nature.
my
I will
die?
not be rolling.
I don't know where my die
The
went.
least
Hello?
studied druid.
I may not know nature, but I
Nature,
can
who's
survive
that?
with the best of them. I got a +7
There you
in
go.
survival.
My die is escaping me.
Here, I'll roll for you, and you can just add your bonus.
Dad, roll my die for me.
Dad, where's my die?
How many times have I told you to put things back where you got them?
I'm sorry.
I mean, you said that about Arya, and look, she tagged along.
I rolled an 11, so if you want to add your bonus.
So, 14.
14. You're not 100% sure why, but you put together some inferences from what's been happening. There's you found it.
It was right next to me. It's fine.
But you don't
On
get the
brand.
exact, you don't get the exact nature of what's happening. Nature of what's happening. So, but you do get a semblance of an understanding that this was a primordial being, the ancient of the ancients. And it seems like if it was talking about a partner, it might be talking about a similar primordial, but maybe something more plant-based. So maybe this is a symbol of things healing, there being less of a disconnect between the primordials that seemed to be having some sort of falling out because of what was happening. So this seems like it's a natural rebalancing. Like what was once sapped of life is now sort of getting it regained to it. It is things might start to be growing, and this might be a catalyst for that.
Well, I say we should report back with some good news. Maybe we don't know how to fix the formations per se, but at the very least, we know that they probably won't move anymore.
Maybe this might have done something to fix it?
I see no reason not to bring this back to the town and on the other side of the wall to see if this helps.
Agreed.
And we tromp off unless you have something else to say.
So you make your way back. It's another hour trek, but as you're traveling back in general, you feel that tremor still, little calmer than before, and there's still destruction. Things can't really be undestroyed, but you get the sense that like some of the crevices are closing. Some of the stalagmites are slowly, now it's taken its sweet time, but it's slowly possibly sinking back into the ground.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's okay. As we're watching this and as we're walking back, thinking about what happened and what was going on, Arya probably would have tried to walk beside Lena, and she might have tried to just slip her hand into hers as they're walking and watching this happen.
Just a nice little squeeze.
So yeah, you head back. You what do you do with that stick?
I guess we would just bring it back to Jasper and be like, proof of purchase.
Actually, I think I would see if there is a place like in the center of town or a place where it would seem like a natural place to plant this thing and do that. And I would probably, Selena, let's try to find this place together and have her and I use our combined druidic powers, or in whatever way that works, to find, the perfect
form together.
Arya definitely would be playing her violin in the background, or her panpipes, whichever one she knows that Lena likes best, to inspire as they're doing it.
Okay, give me one moment. Just want to really quick thank Elise. Elise was very kind to hang out way past her bedtime. Sorry, Logan, about not giving you a heads up there. But we'll wrap up the game. Debbie will just say seemed a little less jaded.
Sulked.
So because she lost her snail.
We're like, we can travel now, and she's like, I wanted a pet, Mom.
That was supposed to be our new pet. I mean, it's better this way. It's better.
And I would be like, make sure you prestidigitate yourself clean. Gross. Snails are gross.
With the slime. It's like a dog slobbering all over you. It's kind of cute, but you're also like, ugh.
But it's coming from everywhere.
Just everywhere. Awful. So bad.
There are tales of people in Houston who found hand-sized snails and picked them up, and they got diseases. No.
This is a fantasy world. You don't get diseased from it. Anyway.
Fantasy bird flu.
Fantasy snail flu. So Lapis and Selena, you along with Arya's assistants, focus on trying to heal the land a little bit. You're putting this clearly piece of a natural primordial into the earth where it belongs. And as you set it into the earth and you cover it,
actually, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Julia, what powers does Selena have that would help this plant to grow? What spells do you have?
No. Oh no, you're air genasi.
Yeah, that's why I'm curious how we could work together to do this. I don't know what your spell list is.
Let's see. We might have lost Julia. I have her spell list.
Anything cool in there she could do?
She has entangle. That could be something. He says moonbeam, wind wall. Yeah, that might be the only one, and I don't mind. Julia, do you think? Can you hear us? Okay.
Oh. Well,
we'll say entangle. Everyone's turning back into a pumpkin. Oh no! It's okay. Everyone.
I think what I would do is once Selena has done whatever she can do, or if she has like druid craft to help make things grow or whatever, I would earth meld again to make sure the roots are at the perfect spot.
Oh, okay.
And great. Then let it start to grow and then come out right next to it, so that we're using our powers to help nurture this thing in a way that non-druids could not do.
No, that's very nice. You're just like meticulously helping to place its roots in a very firm position. It is as if this tree had been growing here for decades, and you're able to entrench it in the earth. Yeah, that's beautiful. I am 100% for that. So this branch is aided by your druid craft and your careful cultivating of its roots. And by the time you're finished, it has blossomed into a young but very firmly rooted, almost kind of looks like a cherry blossom tree. But it's growing little fruit. Almost looks like a very tiny pear, just like a little oblong fruit. So it's not just decorative; it is a means of food, and it's awesome. starting to like grow those little fruits. So yeah, you're doing this, and this whole time you have several of the people in the tavern were watching. Jasper's leaning against a wall on the patio with her arms crossed. She looks a little sour, but it's hard to hide the fact that she's satisfied with the way things are going. She just doesn't get all that druid stuff. And people aren't back. How long do you guys stay in the town, do you think? It takes a little while. It takes a few days for that rock to actually subside in such a way that you can maybe help it along a little. You all seem to have like mold earth and things.
I'd say we'd probably stay and maybe get to know the people in the town a little better, just acquaint ourselves, maybe share recipes and cook together and drink together and
then you go ahead.
No, Arya may actually try to stall them, like keep them staying a little longer for two reasons. One, she wants to check in on those boys and their families and make sure they're okay. And two, she can kind of tell that this place is, brought something back for it, given Lapis a moment to reconnect with his old form. And she kind of wants to keep that going a little bit and let him take his time. So she sort of finds reasons to stall.
Sure.
Awesome, because that is definitely something Lapis would want. And
Mitchum needs to play with kids his own age, so we should really stay for a little while.
God, we need to socialize that
Maybe
kid.
we'll just stay for the school year.
You know, I mean, he keeps traveling around with us. Maybe he can get some recipe ideas from Miss Jasper too. I mean, you know, improve improve our cooking on the road.
So yeah, you spend some time in Hogtown. You get the sense that the Goliaths, the herders, they didn't stray too far. They stayed out a lot out in the distance with where they herd dire boars. So there's big old pigs around, and some of them start coming back. A few of the Tribor clan, they go seeking their family. They're like, oh, we'll just let them know it's fine now. So they just all kind of get back together. And so you meet a bunch of them. I will say, because Elise isn't here to say no, David starts hanging around Debbie a lot. Like, things are dumb. And they just sort of like hang out and don't talk. And it's just sort of this.
I love it.
She can make of it what she will. David clearly has taken a shine to this terrifying young woman. But yeah, so you get to know people. You get a sense for the town and what it was, and hopefully what it becomes again. Might take a lot of work rebuilding, but the forest has started to recede for what damage it has done to buildings. It started to actually less receding and more just kind of thinning out forward, like reincorporating with the rest of the landscape. It very much feels like it used to be a grassland. It used to be a foresty sort of. I'm really bad at remembering biome names. But kind of like a steppe. It's deserty, but there's greenery, and it's kind of getting back to that. It takes, let's say, it takes a few weeks for things to start feeling a little better, but through a happenstance of a lost friend, things came to near catastrophe, and through some very lucky circumstances and some kindness, those friends found their way back to each other. I will say, at the there is a point one night when Lapis and Selena, you're hanging outside. You're just sort of enjoying the world kind of rewriting itself, and you think you see something, what appears to be you swear, and you tell the others, and they don't. I mean, granted, what you guys have seen, it's not like they don't believe you, but you think you saw the other primordial, the tree being, this sort of very delicate, almost bioluminescent, glowing being, very spindly, made of tree and plant life, and it's heading towards the canyon. It's heading that direction, like it's time to rejoin their partner.
Hey, that's awesome.
So and that's sort of the resolution of what happened to Hogtown, and you all got to make some friends along the way.
We did.
And you didn't have to slay anything.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you guys.
Pacifist run.
That was amazing. That was
Thank
awesome.
you so much.
Awesome.
I'm so happy
so
that
sweet.
you all brought such lovely charm to all of your characters. Thank you so much.
So did you.
And
You brought such lovely charm to the world.
Yes,
Mitchum's
this
my
story was
favorite.
lovely.
I wrote more about Mitchum than anything else in this game.
For the rest of the game, Selena's going to sit down with Mitchum and talk about his backstory. I will hear everything you have to tell me about him.
You found him in the swamp. he was from a clutch of eggs and he got lost, and you adopted him. And he's like, okay, you're my family now. It's fine.
I'm in love with him.
Immediately start calling you Mum and Amma.
Kiri Hoomst.
But yeah, so I will address the audience for a moment. Thank you all so much for watching this through any of the technical gremlins that we experienced. I really should have put gremlins in the game that you could have fought. That would have been nice and cathartic for me. But thank you all so much for watching. We have a dice giveaway, a Die Hard dice giveaway. So if you have not yet, please put the code #family into chat so that you are eligible for the giveaway, the Die Hard dice giveaway. We have some really cool dice. I don't know offhand which one we're giving away right now, but if you go to dieharddice.com, you can see some of the very pretty things they have. I will see. I will wait for our producer to give us a heads up when he's ready for us to give him a drum roll. But
we're ready. Instant.
Yeah. As everyone's getting oh, is that what he said?
Yes. Okay. He said we're ready.
So let's drum roll. You may roll our winner. Is it wine 30 yet? I believe hold on 1 sec. Is not eligible. Yay, Kim, you let's roll again, Logan. Raziel Axiom, you have won our Die Hard Days giveaway. Congratulations!
Hey, congratulations!
We will DM you with the We Are Nerdsmith account as soon as possible and give you your code so that you can use it for your free set of Die Hard dice. I'm so excited for you. It's very exciting. Anyone who did not, especially Kim, because we know you're a Nerdsmith creator, so not eligible for the giveaway. But anybody else who wants to help us out, support a really good cause. Once again, this is our final episode of One Shot Wins. Oh, hold on, we do have the picture of the dice he has won. They have won. You have won a set of classic Battle Worn silver. Oh, the Battle Worn set's really congratulations, Raziel. Anyway, so we are, as our last day of Pride One-Shot Wednesdays, we are supporting the Trevor Project, who provide life-saving services for LGBTQ plus youth in crisis. They provide education for adults that work with LGBTQ youth. They provide a social media network that young people can reach out to find an empathetic ear, someone who understands what they're going through and can help be sympathetic and understanding. And they also have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week suicide prevention hotline. You can find more at thetrevorproject.org. And we really hope that you join us in continuing to support them. We have at nerdsmith.org/pride. You can get our super gorgeous Dragon Pride enamel pin. It's, from what I understand, a pretty substantially large pin. And it's gorgeous. And we're so excited to get them rolling out for you. And you can pre-order them. All pre-orders from now until the end of June, 100% of the profits are going to be going directly to the Trevor Project and their services. And after that, you can still buy the pin. $1 of every purchase after June will be going to the Trevor Project. We want to continue supporting them and putting a little good into the world through our shenanigans of playing Dungeons and Dragons on the internet. So I think that might be everything that we have. Thank you again to our sponsors, Die Hard. Oh, thank you again to our sponsors, Die Hard Dice, for giving their kick-ass giveaways, and to World Anvil for always supporting us and being amazing. You definitely should both check them both out, worldanvil.com and dieharddice.com. We are always grateful for their support and their enthusiasm for the nerdy stuff that we do. Thank you so much for the donation. You're amazing. So I think we might do a raid. We are going to raid Margaret Crone. on here on Twitch, and we would love for you to join us. Let's have our raid cry be Nerd Fam. And if you please join us to help pay it forward, support another creator here on Twitch, give them a fun little boost to their evening, so that they know they're not alone and that they're not working in a vacuum. We're all in this together, and I want to thank you all for being so patient, supportive, and engaged with our game here. It was absolute pleasure. We are going to don't forget to check everybody out. You can see their Twitter handles on their pictures here on the layout. I'm so sorry I forgot to let you guys sign off and introduce yourselves again, but Kelric, Rachel, and Julia, thank you so much for sticking it out, and thank you to Kelric, Rachel, and Julia's internet for sticking it out till the end.
I don't know how we did.
Thank you so much for watching, and please, as I request to anyone who watches me do weird things on the internet, do me a favor and please be good to each other. So you all have a beautiful evening.